cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. But crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to another race meeting here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. And what a circuit we are at this evening on this beautiful Wednesday night. We're at Zandvoort, or Circuit Park Zandvoort, to give it its full name. And to give him his full name, Peter MacKay joins me alongside, well, if I get my sentence right, he will join me in the commentary box if he doesn't get sick of me. But he's on a new PC. He's very happy. You can actually see the cars now, can't you, Peter?
Oh, I can see them and I can hear them. This is what the future looks like, Chaz.
Certainly is, mate. Certainly is. But I mean, I know how much you love this place here at Zandvoort. You've told me so many stories about this place, and you know your visits there over time, and it's a real gem of a track, really, isn't it?
It certainly is. Yeah, it's the thing I like about Zandvoort is it's a very natural circuit. It's cut around the shape of the sand dunes, which it's right next to the coast. It's 300 or 400 meters from the coastline in the north of Holland, and cuts right through the sand dunes, and of course has been modernised a little bit for Formula One eventually coming there. But it's a proper classic circuit. Used to hold the Marlborough Masters, which actually launched quite a few different drivers' careers, like Lewis Hamilton, David Coulthard, and even Jos Verstappen, whose son went on to do quite well in the sport, I understand.
Yes, indeed. It's just one of those tracks that's quite raw, isn't it? Really, it's one of the true racing circuits. It's not a Tilkedrome that's just a long straight and then a heavy braking zone. It's got some proper curves to it, very difficult corners to get right as well. And someone that's not worrying about getting it right at the moment is Tom Slater, who's currently fastest by over a tenth and a half ahead of Danny Jones. Oliver Cowdean has gone third fastest. Paul Goffin is currently fourth. He's just done his best lap in the Martini liveried machine. Just need to make a quick adjustment to a setting in my sim there, everybody. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I'll get that sorted.
So while you're doing that, Chaz, isn't it amazing that half a second between the top 7? That's it just shows you that this new class system with club and pro class, of course this is the club class to start with. I mean, it's absolutely exceptional how tight it is at the top of the field. Now the top 8 covered by half a second, but Tom Slater, he's catching in the championship too.
Yes, indeed. Tom's been very, very impressive. He really has stood out amongst a number of the other drivers. Just give the liveries a second, everybody. I've realised that I've been running another league where we have one of the settings in iRacing which is called hide car numbers on. And sometimes it loads a different set of liveries for drivers dependent on what they've got set up on trading paints. So I've turned that off just to make sure that people have the correct liveries this evening. But yeah, Tom Slater in the Jameson car looking very good indeed and very fast. Luke Holroyd, another man with a shout at the championship this season. Luke's had some very impressive drives so far. And of course our race winner from Laguna Seca, João Estevez. He's now got these wonderful teal wheels on the car. It's always been an interesting livery. Looks still like a realistic one though. I remember years and years ago, Carwadine goes fastest. Wow. Red Bull certainly does give you wings, flying right to the top. But coming back to João Estevez livery, I remember, I think it was in DTM, there was a Mercedes for a while. I think it was a Warsteiner Mercedes that had a picture of the engine and all the inner workings of the car on the front. And it kind of reminds me of that. I'm not sure if that was the right car or not, but I'm pretty sure it is.
It's kind of like one of those novelty kitchen aprons with the kind of muscly six-pack as well. I feel I should get myself one of those. Do you think it'd be convincing enough?
I'd say so, mate. Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'd need one while you were there, though, so make sure if there's an offer on that you get a pair. But, yeah.
I think that they will buy one, get one free, probably. I'm Scottish. If there's a deal, I'll find it.
Well, that's very, very true indeed. Very true. But we're just coming to the end of the qualifying session here. These guys just get a couple of laps to do. Here's Carl Hazelton in the Porsche Centre Chester machine, number 24. And I actually saw my first images this week of Carl's real-life car, and it's fantastic to see the similar livery on it. I love it. Absolutely love it. And it's great because when you do see these cars in person, even though it is on a different shape, you know, still a Porsche at the end of the day, but even though it's on a different shape, it just looks brilliant. Really does. And speaking of Porsches, actually, obviously I'm a humongous fan of Chris Harris and all of his work, especially on Top Gear. He's just reviewed the new 911 GT3, and what a car that is.
That's on my list to watch tonight.
It's glorious.
I haven't seen it yet, but that new GT3 looks amazing. Now, Chaz, you know, let's be honest, we're both total saddos. Let's really be frank about this. And I'm a saddo, and I love going onto the configurator and playing about configuring a car I'll never possibly afford. And I've done that many
Yes.
times already with the GT3. So do you do that? Do you go on a configurator?
I do, and one thing I never pick is a PDK.
Quite right. Correct. Correct. Oh, man after my own heart.
Yeah,
That's why I need a new PC. My PC broke when I clicked PDK. It was like, error.
You just got HTTP 404, Chrome just closed. Just because it was like, PDK, you mad, bruv. But we just get to the end of quali. A bit of a spoiler. Well, it's not really a spoiler about the Chris Harris video, but he is the very lucky man that gets to do the 1,000 run-in miles on the GT3 that Porsche would normally do before they give it to him. But he gets to do those 1,000 miles, and he documents doing them in the video. It's absolutely amazing. It's such a nerdy thing to be excited about. But honestly, just the fact that he gets to run those miles in himself rather than Porsche doing it is that's pretty special, really, isn't it? Let's face it.
It shows they must trust them, because if you don't run in an engine like that correctly, I can imagine it's not very good for it.
Yes, very true. Well, trust me, what he does after he hits 1,000 miles with it wouldn't be good for anything. Oliver Cowdean takes pole position from Tom Slater and Paul Goffin, with Luke Holroyd fourth. Following them is Danny Jones and Joe Estevez, with Andrew Shepard and Amrik Sashdev on row 4. We then have Carl Hazelton and Jared Coleman on row 5. Julian Noise lines up alongside Ryan Penny, 11th and 12th. Behind them is Michael Rowe and Mark Elving, with Heinz Meyer and Ralph Meyer on the 8th row of the grid together. Then we have Andrew Soper and Andrew Marston, Spencer Ayres and David Patching round out your top 20. Then it's Gregory Butterworth and Mark Sill, with Jamie Ward and Peter Brill in 24th place. We've got some real hot shots in this one, Peter. Oliver Cowdean near the front is a definite shout for the win. Do you think he can hold on to it?
Well, the one thing about Zandvoort is that it's a brilliant track to drive, but overtaking is tricky. I think it's more going to be about who makes the least mistakes. So I think maybe Tom Slater's probably best chance is to get into the lead into turn 1, and if he can, he's just got to try and pressure Carbadine into a mistake, because trying to create a move that's not there, not advisable.
Very true. Just needs to crack on and see what he can do. Keep his calm, but round 9 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship is underway, and it's a lot of wheel spin for Paul Goffin. He's going to lose out badly there, drops a number of positions. Barney waves the flag like a madman, but down to turn 1. Let's see what the bunching does. Sashdev went deep down the inside. There's a bit of argy-bargy. Danny Jones is around. Goffin's in there as well, and that is Julian Noise into the side of him. Looks like everyone else got away with it. Carwadine makes a very, very clean getaway. Let's have a quick scan down the order as they come into the hairpin. Very difficult corner to get right here. You need to be careful on cold tyres out of there. This is Heinz Meyer in the 222. But a little bit of a mess there, I think, by Amrik Sashdev. Just a little bit late on the brakes, unfortunately. But I think, to be fair, Peter, I mean, you and I know what turn 1's like at Zandvoort. They got away with that lightly there.
Well, they don't call it Tarzan Bend for nothing. You do have to get that sort of that bravery when you go into that particular corner. But good start from Luke Holroyd in the number 911 car, or 911 if you prefer, for Porsche Sport. They're doing exactly what he needs to do, just keeping it nice and steady, nice and consistent, and being the driver who makes the least mistakes. And he'll be there. But watch out for Amrik Sashdev as well. Speaking of, big old lunge from Amrik, but just backs out of it. And that was Jared Coleman, just tapped the edge of nothing malicious, but just tapped the edge of Danny Jones there, and that was enough to send the Haribo Bear into a twirl.
Yes, indeed. It was just the tiniest of touches. Ralph Meyer's gone off. The big bro of the two manages to recover. He's actually back in his starting position now, although he's going to drop down behind Andrew Marston, who's gained 2 places on the first lap in the Pink Pig. But we complete the first lap of the race then, and they fly down what feels like a long straight here at Zandvoort, but it's not actually that long in comparison to some others, is it?
Well, I think it's because you approach it, you come onto the straight at such high speed. You come out of Ari Loyendijk bend at very, very high speed. God knows what it's going to be like for the Formula 1 guys when they come out of there. But it's definitely named after the right driver, of course, named after a Dutchman, in case you didn't guess by the name, who is still to this day the Indianapolis 500 pole position holder. Set the record in 1996, an average speed over 10 miles, 237 miles per hour.
You have to have humongous plums to do that. Absolutely.
Muy grande cojones.
Yes. Oh, wow. I couldn't imagine doing that for 10 seconds, never mind 10 miles. That's absolutely bonkers, to be fair. I imagine at that speed, 10 miles doesn't take much longer than 10 seconds. But this is Mark Elvin, who's in a bit of a scrap at the minute. Lockups here from Ryan Penny, and he's got Andrew Soper just behind him. And then, of course, Andrew Shepherd in the polo shirt mobile. 10th place, just rounding out that top 10. Battle for the lead, though. Carwardin's only 3 tenths ahead of Tom Slater. And the car, body language, looks like a car under pressure to me, Peter.
Well, I must note now, Chaz, that both cars leading have got gold wheels, and that's all you need to know, really. Is that gold wheels equals pole position and the win.
Yes.
But I tell you what, Carwardin looking really comfy. Zandvoort's one of these sorts of circuits that where if you click with it, you can really get an advantage of. Oh, nerfed off Ryan Penny. Well, he's in for a penny, in for a pound into the gravel.
He's been Jaeger bullied out of the way.
Oh.
That was unfortunate, to say the least. Really not sure what caused it, but it looked like Elvin went down the inside and he just ran wide. He just understeered into him. Since then, Carl Hazelton has gone off. Carl Hazelton went past that incident, caught up to some of them. He's now going to overtake Elvin. We'll stay with this and see what happened. Went down the inside. Oh, he's late on the brakes. Oh, Mark moves over to go down the inside of Soper. And Hazelton just goes straight on.
Nearly pulled it up, but that's the thing is these cars do not have any anti-lock braking system. So if you just Exhibit A, if you just thanks for that, Jamie Ward. If you just put in that tiny bit too much brake pressure, the wheel can really lock up. But unlike a real-world race car, it's quite difficult to just release the pressure slightly and get the brake to grip back again. Usually, once you're locked, you kind of stay locked. Now, what is the table's wound? The cassette tape's wound around at the Hans Erspocht.
Yeah, Mark
I
Searle.
like the Dutch names. No, it's not. It's the Boch 9, sorry, which is turn 9.
Mark Searle had his own moment there, behind Ryan Penny, almost a lap down, and just doesn't get it stopped in time. He's actually had another off since then as well, so something not quite going right for him here. Elvin's had a bit of a slow down there. Some of them all trying to queue up behind him. What has happened here? It's a race of replays at the moment. Elvin clearly pushing hard. He's just going to lock up here, isn't he, and go across? He is. And then, just as the other guys get onto the scene, Soper and the crew turn up to try and have one over on him. This is one hell of a battle, this. This is 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th and 13th is just a second off the back of it in the form of Spencer Ayres. So, really convincing train of cars. But great battle in all the same. There's still only 3 tenths between our top 2, though. Tom Slater made a little bit of a mistake at the end of the lap when we were on board with Carwardin. But now he's closed that gap back up. I can't decide between the 2 sets of gold wheels here, but we know one thing. Luke Holroyd's flying. Fastest lap of the race for him last time round. And he's going to be looking for an opportunity here, isn't he?
Yeah, indeed. I do quite like Carwardin's ones, which are kind of halfway between bronze and gold. I think Slater's ones, they're more... Well, I know it's promoting an Irish whiskey, but it's kind of more almost like Springbok colours as well that we see on Mark Bowe's car in the Procross a little bit later on. But did I just see is Luke Holroyd giving himself unofficial Porsche factory driver status? Is that a Porsche factory driver suit that he's got on in that car? If so, it is. It is.
I don't have my camera at an angle enough where I can see that.
Well, that's well, you'll have to trust me on that one. That's bold. That's like putting on a Ronaldo shirt, being like, yeah, taught him everything he knows.
Indeed. I know someone that told me they were a Porsche factory driver once, and they're not. He tried to convince an entire Discord worth of people that he was. Anyway, moving past
there's not many of them, so it's quite easy to tell if they are.
Exactly, yeah. You know, you go on the website and it says these are the people that are the Porsche factory drivers and development drivers, and yeah, you're not there, mate. So yeah, jog on. Anyway,
I'm Buzz Lightyear.
I mean, it's all, you know, you can say stuff like that for a laugh, but you know, when you try and convince loads of people and hold it up for years, then that was avoidance and a half by Hazelton. To be fair. That was Searle. He was just trying to go. Sorry, Andrew Marston. I get the 111 and the 777 mixed up all the time. I'm sorry, boys. This is something you don't want to get mixed up, though. Red Bull and Jameson, first and second.
There's a hangover from.
I'm getting a headache thinking about it.
Worse than drinking fruit Copperberg cider.
Oh no!
Oh, there you go!
Oh no, Oliver Cowdean will have an headache after that. Sashdev goes through as well, and Tom Slater inherits the lead of the race. But that is all it takes around here, isn't it, Peter? It's an old school racetrack with old school punishment.
Well, funnily enough, that corner is called Master's Bend, and well, you need to be a master to get it just right, and it's very easy to bite off a little bit more on the exit, and that's what happened to Oliver Carbadine there. However, if you're going to make a mistake, it's important that you don't do that. Goodness me. See, if you you've got a proper... Oh, Biff! Well, you know, if you've got a proper lubricant, like, I don't know, Petro-Canada lubricant, the official lubricant of the Porsche Club of Great Britain, that wouldn't happen.
Michael Rowe he just came over and squeezed it a little bit too much there on Elvin, and then Penny tried to go down the inside, and unfortunately there was more, and there's been more since then as well. Rowe and Penny off again. Two of them, oh boys. Penny moved over a little bit, you can say, but it was a bit messy. A little bit messy and frantic there, unfortunately, but yeah, originally Rowe just squeezed Mark Elvin to the inside. That was a real shame.
So you can do the amateur stewarding, Chaz, and I'll plug the sponsors.
Yes. That's pretty much the roles we've sort of developed into, isn't it, over time, really?
Yeah.
You do the good stuff.
I've become a dodgy... what's the name of that channel, that TV channel that they have?
QVC.
UVC, that's
QVC.
it. Yeah, I'm like a UVC salesman. Like... or is it JVC? No, that
QVC.
QVC, sorry, yeah. I'm like, this is the massive extending mop. It turns your Wi-Fi signal up 123 times.
From JML.
Always from JML.
Yeah, it's always JML.
I've got one of those JML talking televisions in the middle of the shop. You just want to put your foot through the bloody through the thing.
It's just one of the worst TVs in the world as well. It's like JML made the TV. It's just like the lowest budget, like Lin Yang TV, 21.5 inches, and it's like 480p. But you've got that same. Once that bloke pops his clogs, they'll be out of business because that voice. You can't replace that voice.
No one's got that level of enthusiasm.
About JML, anyway.
No.
Well, here's us talking about it for more than a lap of Zandvoort.
They've got their money's
Right then, what's cracking here then? Andrew Shepherd right behind Jared Coleman. It's not normally something with an Aston Villa logo is above anything in a table, is it really? But Coleman now trying to stay in front.
They probably had JML as a sponsor for one time gone by, I would imagine.
You know what? I think they might have a JVC. Funnily enough, even though you did mention that, I think Aston Villa did have JVC on one of their shirts at one point. I'm going to Google it.
JVC television.
Oh no, it wasn't JVC. I'm thinking of Arsenal. That's a bad thing to make a mistake with, isn't it? It was a JVC was on Arsenal. Anyway, good little battle going on here. This is for 6th position. Andrew Shepherd is the only man in the field. Here's a nerdy fact that has. Well, he's still in the position that he started in. Started 7th, currently 7th. Andrew Soper just behind has gained 9 places. He's having a really good drive. And Amrit Sashdev, he's gained 5 to be up in 3rd. But he has got original pole sitter Oliver Cowdean behind him. And Ollie's not going to be... there's going to be a bit of... Never mind Red Bull, it'll be Red Mist at the moment after his little mistake before. He's going to want to get through as quick as possible.
Yeah, I tell you what, you want to make the bull angry, shake a communist newspaper at it. That's one way to get angry, that's for sure. But this isn't as lovely. You just ride on the engine cover, of course, this 911 right at the back of the car. 4 litre, flat 6, 485 horsepower. Oh, stick a manual gearbox to it and you've got the perfect car.
You have. It's absolutely glorious. Round to the final corner they go. Long sweeping right, you've got to modulate the throttle and the brakes around there to make sure you keep the car pitched in, especially in this car as well. It does like to break away. Cowdean closing down the straight, looks to the inside, nothing doing yet though. He's much later on the brakes. Oh, I thought we were going to see contact there. Wow, that was very close indeed. Andrew Shepherd.
Closing, I think Holroyd might be closing in on Slater, Chaz, and actually Sashdev and Carbadine, if they don't knock lumps out of each other, they're lapping quicker.
Yeah, they are actually. They were a good few tenths of a second each. I mean, Cowdean did a 40.7 and Amrit did a 41.0. Holroyd did a 41.1 and Slater a 41.3. So in reverse order, those guys. Julien Noiset's just had an issue, I'm afraid. Oh, he's got quite a lot of damage to that car as well from the earlier contact. Oh, he's just gone onto the gravel there just a little bit too hot. Manages to get back on without hitting Hazelton. Carl gets a freebie, but after his little off earlier, he'll want to be a bit higher than that, to be fair. Carl has currently, well, he's lost 4 places from where he started, but he's not doing too badly. Danny Jones has just got past Ralph Mayer a bit further down. It's a typical race for this championship, though, isn't it, Peter? There's always something going on here.
There is, and it's very, very difficult to pick a winner. Much more difficult to pick a winner in the club class than it is in the pro class. Much more drivers who are potentially capable of clinching a win. And then when we get into the context of the reverse grid, then it really, I mean, throw up a couple of blades of grass and see where they land. It's it's really, really unpredictable. And that, to be honest, that makes our job as broadcasters much easier. So thanks, Jake.
Yeah, cheers, boys. It's very exciting, though. Always do love covering this series. We've got Paul Goffin here just on the outer fringes of the top 10. Oh, now Jared Coleman has got Andrew Shepherd all over him now. Down the inside goes Andrew into turn 1. Hard onto the brakes. Gets it sorted. And now away. Now further back, Goffin has gone past Heinz Mayer. And Soper has a bit of a wiggle there mid-corner, so he's lost a bit of momentum on the exit. They need to be careful into here. Just need to anticipate each other's early braking. But Goffin seeming like the man on the mission at the moment. Obviously, he was involved in that contact earlier. He started 3rd on the grid, did Paul. He's a real nightmare start to the race, but he's trying to recover. But you've just got to be so tentative, because if you are quicker than the driver that you're chasing, you just have to really have it in the back of your head that they may brake earlier than you, they may take different lines and not get out the corner as well. You really have to have your wits about you, don't you, when you're chasing stuff down?
Indeed, that actually, well, and I tell you what, even the very best in the world can be caught out by that. I was watching some of the opening round of the European Le Mans series from Barcelona at the weekend, and Jimmy Bruni, a Porsche factory driver, a real Porsche factory driver, the one who gets given his suits by Porsche and paid money to drive Porsches, had a platinum grade with the FIA and a driver in a Ferrari in front of him with a bronze grade, hit the brakes about 200 metres before Jimmy was expecting him to, and he ploughed straight into the back of him. But it's up to of course, what is it they say, that it's up to the driver following to avoid that from happening.
Yeah, it's like the Touge racing in Japan that they do, where
Touge.
I've always heard it called Touge.
Is it Touge? Oh, okay.
I don't know. It depends on where you hear it from, I suppose. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. You know, if you're the driver behind, no matter what the driver in front does, if you hit the car in front as the driver behind, then you lose. It's just, you've got to think, so surely people are brake checking when you're doing that. But yeah, it's absolutely, it's such a raw.
Montoya would be good at that.
It would be, yeah. It's such a raw form of motorsport, though, and you know that sets a principle for a lot of other things in motorsport. Like you mentioned there, you know, if you're following the car in front, it's always your responsibility to react to what the car in front is doing and anticipate a difference in driving. It's like when you're following a learner on the British highways, you know. You have to anticipate them to brake earlier and be a bit slower here and there. Otherwise, you'd ram into the back of them, but it's not quite a competitive scenario.
Anyone driving an SUV to do something stupid within 5 minutes.
Yeah, or a Peugeot.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And if you see a long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter, they are going to be on the paint of your rear bumper before you even know where you are.
Yeah, and even if you're doing 72, just a little bit over the speed limit in the fast lane, they'll be doing 92. Even though they're still right behind you, they'll want to do 92. But yeah, it's always the long wheelbase, the 313 CDI Sprinters, isn't it? And
short wheelbase, they're perfect gentle people.
Yeah.
But the long wheelbase, it's just like, no, I'm not even going there. I'm not. Yeah. I was going to be abort. Oh, Jägerbill's around.
Oh, he's had a long spin there. I think that might be something to do with the humongous damage to the front right. It's just pitched the nose in. Yeah, one or the other. But I mean, God help you if you get a Mercedes Sprinter that's long wheelbase with the double wheels at the back. Oh, you've had it.
Oh my.
Oh Lord.
Oh my.
You've had it. But obviously, you know, drivers of French manufacturers such as Peugeots, which I am inclined to diss. Now I work for Renault. They're usually the worst, as pointed out by Top Gear a few years ago, Maniac and so on. Right then.
That's still my favourite.
Oh, it's just to very quickly reflect on that. It's the thing where they say, "Watch out, James, there's a corner," and he just exits stage right through the hedge. It's just unbelievably hilarious episode. But one thing that you mentioned before, Peter, is that these guys will be closing on the top two, and at the moment they are.
Well, they'll be coming on to Barney. I hope Barney's given his right arm a rest, because it's time to put down the green flag and get out the white flag, because it's coming on to the last lap right now. And well, I think it's going to be a big ask. It would take quite a big mistake from either Luke Holroyd or Tom Slater for Amrik Sashdev and Oliver Carradine to catch up. But Zandvoort is that sort of circuit.
Yeah, it is. We've got a minute and a quarter to go, so this will be the final lap of the race. Carradine looks to the inside. Sashdev moves over onto the racing line. Carradine gets a nice apex and a good exit off the corner. He at least wants a podium out of this. He's thinking, right, if we're not going to be able to work together and close on the guys ahead, then I at least want to get on the roster. Oh, Sashdev goes a little bit deep, but he's going to get a good exit for that. It is a circuit where a number of the corners, you can take multiple lines through them, can't you? And you either get a good run out or a good run in.
Yeah, you've got to pick one, don't you? You've got to pick one. I'm just noticing there, Chaz, on the YouTube comments, Austin Greatrex, who is wrong, said that the first thing he put on his 992 GT3 build was PDK. Now, I don't know if that's an actual one or if that is a kind of Sandoz fantasy one like ours.
Yeah, I'd hope, just out of pure jealousy, I would hope that it was the latter. But either way, if you can, then, you know, get one. I mean, that's what Chris Harris says in the video. If you can get one, get one. Just do it. You know, he says he knows times are hard, but just get one. For God's sake, get one. Because they're not always going to be around. Anyway, Sashdev doing a great job at holding on to third place at the moment in the number 9 machine. But just in front, Tom Slater has driven a beautiful, beautiful drive once again. He may have inherited the lead, but either way, he's the man that stays there, and he holds on to it to the very end. Round 9 of the championship goes the way of Tom Slater. Holroyd is second. Sashdev just beats Carradine to the line. 5th place is going to go the way of João Estevez. Very under the radar there. Nice performance from him. And then Andrew Shepherd, who did get past Jared Coleman and has disappeared up the road. He's going to come home in 6th place, Peter. But another fantastic bunch of battles near the front of the pack.
There was indeed, yeah, but Tom Slater did not flinch and just followed Carradine for the opening laps. A little tiny mistake from Oliver Carradine gave Slater the impetus to get through, but just shows you if you want to win this championship, you're going to have to drive flawlessly all the way through.
You are indeed. You have to really be on it from the get-go. Here's Andrew Marston. He's flashing the lights. Michael Rowe gets a bit of a run out the final corner, you know, nearly beats him across the line. Just over a 10th in it as they cross the line there. I think the drivers that are still partway around the lap, we have, Ryan Penny's just dropped down. Danny Jones and Peter Brill are still racing for position, you know. This isn't over yet. This is for 18th and 19th. No, sorry, 17th and 18th. There you go, Chaz. Got it right one day. Danny Jones just going through. Real shame for Danny, actually. He started 5th on the grid and made a big mess of it. Oh, speaking of making a mess, David Patching's gone off. But he'd already finished.
Already over the line.
Yeah. He's the last one that finished. Actually, sorry. Yeah, he had already finished for these guys. Danny Jones 17th, then Peter Brill 18th. Jamie Ward has Ryan Penny in the very angry Jaeger right behind him, and then Ralph Mayer is
the red car.
Indeed. Jamie Ward.
Don't worry about the Michelins, doesn't matter.
And then Julien Noizet has already... No, he's not finished the race, actually. By the look of it, he's not collected the checkered flag yet, anyway. So he's still yet to cross the line. But I think this may be, well, I don't think he's going to get the time to get all the way around again, unfortunately. There's Julian in the red number 88 machine. I'm not sure if the livery has loaded on that at my end, but it should have by now. Let's face it, it's been a 20-minute race, but what a great drive by Tom Slater in that one then, Peter. He did not flinch at all, you were right. It's just kept his cool, and unfortunate for Oliver Cowdery, though, but still 4th place. Decent result, and now, you know, he was showing us that he had the pace over the other guys at the end of that race. He's now going to start in front of them on the grid.
Yeah, and this is where the championship is definitely won and lost. I sound like a broken record, but well, I am. But the reverse grid race, absolutely critical, because this is where you can easily get tangled up in problems. And you know, taking nothing away with any of the performances in the top 4, very impressive pace, quite high above their peers. But this is where it really matters: is getting to the front of the reverse grid race without damage, without problems, and try and book as many points as you can, because that's when you can get a real jump on your rivals.
Yes, indeed. Makes all the difference. So we'll go over the results of that first race then. Tom Slater wins by less than a second over Luke Holroyd. Then we have Amrik Sashdev in 3rd, with Oliver Cowdery 600ths of a second, not even that, behind. João Estevez was 5th, like I said at the time, under the radar. Andrew Shepard finished ahead of Jared Coleman, with Paul Goffin and Andrew Soper, and Heinz Meyer rounding out your top 10. Following them was Mark Elvin, who had all of the action early on, with Carl Hazelton, Spencer Ayres and Andrew Marston. Michael Rowe was 15th, with David Patching and Danny Jones, and Peter Brill, who started at the very back of the field, finished in 18th place. Behind them was Jamie Ward and Ralph Mayer, with Ryan Penny, the last car on the lead lap. Julian Noise, Gregory Butterworth and Mark Searle were 1, 2 and 2 laps down, respectively. But what we're going to do very quickly here, everybody, is literally just take a quick 90-second break, just because, one, Chaz is an idiot and forgot to get a drink beforehand, and trust me, this is thirsty work, this stuff. You need to stay hydrated. But we just need to take a quick break for that, really. That's all. Make sure we both have a drink and we're ready, and we'll get the second race of the night underway. See you in a few. Hello again, everybody. Hydrated Chaz here with Peter MacKay, ready for the second race of the night here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, the 3rd season, rounds 9 and 10 at Zandvoort, getting to, well, just over the halfway point of the season. And what a circuit Zandvoort has been already. I mean, it's shown itself already, Peter, to be very challenging for these guys in these cars. I mean, we always say it, that these cars are not easy to drive, as João Estevez showed us just a moment ago, but around here especially, this is a real challenge, this place.
It definitely is. It has quite the reputation for that. And this particular 911 Cup car, I think, will be the last of a breed, because this is very, very typical Porsche 911 characteristics, with the engine being kind of much more over the back of the rear wheels in the traditional 911 way, and it's on the narrow body as well. The new 992 generation Cup car, which has already been debuted in North America and will be debuting in the Super Cup in a few weeks' time. It's on the wide body. It's much lighter. It's got more aero. It's got a bit more power. And in America, it's actually running with ABS. So it's almost a baby GT3 car, or a 95% of a GT3 car. So this is a challenge. No traction control, no ABS. So it is a completely it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be missed, actually. Like a slightly someone who you shouldn't really miss, but it was fun while it lasted, kind of thing.
Yeah, just for the nostalgia
If you know what I
sake.
mean.
Yeah, of course. It's while it is a challenge, it's a lovable challenge. It's still such a driver's car, and I think that's why we all love them. I mean, that's Porsche's all over, isn't it? Really, let's face it. Right then, we're going to fly through this grid very quickly. We'll just give you the top 10, but we'll show you the rest of them as we go. Mark Searle and Gregory Butterworth make up the front row, with Julien Noiset and Ryan Penny on row 2. Then it's Ralph Mayer and Jamie Ward, Peter Brill and Danny Jones. Watch out for Danny in this one. David Patching and Michael Rowe round out your 10, but we've literally just got a couple of cars to take to the grid, and then we're going to be good to go for the second race of the evening. Any picks in this one, Peter?
This is a hard one. Get off the fence, Peter. Andrew Shepherd.
Andrew Shepherd, good shout. Starting all the way back down there in 19th position, that far away that the shadows don't even render on the first few cars. But he is going to be in with a big task here, but we've seen it happen before. 20 minutes to get the job done, and round 10 in the club class of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship from Zandvoort is away. And look at Ryan Penny from the second row, absolutely flying around Gregory Butterworth there. Let's get on a camera where we can actually see something. Cars wiggling around a little bit on the brakes there. Everybody behaving themselves? Seems so. I could hear a little bit of contact in the middle. Jared Coleman gets through this time. Look at that, nearly 3 wide behind there. That's Elvin down the inside of Ward. We've got Mark Searle off the circuit from third. David Patching's off a bit further back. Searle has been collected, and he's gone in the wall, and he's now out of the way. There's more contact there. That's Peter Brill. And Elvin's been making so much contact tonight, honestly. The very bold Michelin livery, but it seems like, I was going to say you can't miss it, but yeah, people literally can't on track, it seems. But lively start here as they all settle in. Oliver Carwadine's gained 9 places already. What an incredible start that is. Elvin's around again. Carwadine's effort gets put to nothing, and the track is blocked, or is it? They've all got out of the way a bit. Oh, man. It was Elvin that lost it. João Estevez is in there. Carwadine just got absolutely nailed. And there's more cars off. Marston off now.
There's a collector's item. You don't see Andrew Marston off the track very often. One of the safest drivers. One of the safest drivers in the field is Andrew in the Pink Pig. Porsche Club of Great Britain's very own Harry Metcalf, the editor of the club, Sim Racing magazine. What could Oliver Carwadine have done there? And that is exactly what we were talking about. The reverse grid race is full of peril. You have to have eyes on the back of your head to try and avoid the incidents. And really, I mean, look at this. He does see it early, and nothing really to do. Had to risk it on the grass and just, caught the wall.
Andrew Shepherd had an absolute nightmare in all of this. Look, you get the incident. You'll see Elvin just goes around there. I think Elvin made contact with somebody, and then bang, Shepherd goes to the right to avoid it. He gets a smack, an absolute smack. I really don't know what happened with Elvin. I think he did lose it on his own, but from that angle there, it looked like there was another car involved. We've got Oliver Carwadine off again. Oh, that car's ready for the wrecker's yard, isn't it? That is absolutely
it's like a can of Red Bull.
Yeah, indeed. And with him there, Michael Rowe also in a horrendously damaged car. They won't be going anywhere. But it's Julien Noiset, who was the last man to cross the line in the first race. Now the first man to cross the line each lap of this race so far, the number 88 machine. Ryan Penny in second place just behind him there. Then Danny Jones, so some very, very good talent chasing him. As Jamie Ward just getting overtaken by Soper and Coleman. Coleman, biggest mover so far, 10 places gained for the Aston Villa fan.
A very good start indeed for Jared Coleman, that's for sure. But I have to say, I can't believe I missed him. Danny Jones, of course, had a difficult race 1, which of course gave him a decent position grid spot here for race 2. Yeah, he would be my pick now, Chaz, if I can be a glory hunter and leave Andrew Shepherd at the back.
Well, despite the incident, Andrew still gained 6 places. Although Amrik Sashdev's going to have something to say about that. Make it 5 because Amrik's gained 9. Oh, Jamie Ward's off. Gets back on. Manages to keep the car running. No issues there. Noise does the fastest lap. Now Danny Jones beats him to it by 7/10. Danny Jones a 1:41.1. That's very, very quick indeed. And he's going to be going after Ryan Penny now, so keep your eye on that Harry Bobert because it's on the move. And I mean, obviously it's in some of your favourite colours as well, Peter. It's a nice little combo livery, that, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I love it. Yep, in the Brumos colours, of course, representing. We need to get him in the 59 because that's the proper Brumos number.
Yeah.
Actually, because Peter Gregg, who owned Brumos, he was actually a naval intelligence officer. And one time he was landing an aircraft onto an aircraft carrier, and he saw it at a 59 on the side of it. He goes, I like the way that looks. So that is, and in the same typeface as well, that was put on the side of all the Brumos race cars from there on in.
Nice, I like that. I must admit, in certain circumstances, military numbers, when they're on a proper bit of military kit, they just look the part. And then when you can transfer that onto a race car and make the car look like a military bit of kit as well, it really does work. Danny Jones has got past Ryan Penny. He just went down the inside into the hairpin and now up into 2nd place. Gregory Butterworth has got pressure from Ralph Mayer and Carl Hazelton behind. Carl's having a good race so far. 7 places gained for him. Started 13th, now up into 6th. My maths is on point this week.
I'm going to tell you what, we know that Carl Hazelton's maths on point. He's got the hottest calculator in the motor trade. He'll do you a deal, I'm sure.
Will indeed. He will indeed. Round the final corner they go then. He's going to get a good run down here. Gets into the slipstream.
He's going to give us a deal free for the weekend. We'll give it back after the weekend, Carl, honestly.
Yeah. We'll make sure it comes back with a full tank. He's very close to the back of Ralph Mayer. Oh, like a BMW driver there in turn 1. Very, very close indeed. But Butterworth doing a great job so far. We've seen at points this season that he's struggled with the car a little bit, but he's holding on to 4th place very well at the minute, at the risk of commentators cursing him. But this is the thing that we enjoy about this series, isn't it, Peter? You see new drivers come in each season, and you just see them develop over the course of the championship, and the way they drive and just getting used to the car in general is a lot of hard work. And Gregory's been a real standout so far in that development for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I can tell you, this car is very easy to get disheartened. I've called this car some unbroadcastable names, honestly. It is so tricky. I actually think it's got to be in the top 3 most difficult cars on iRacing to master, or at least to even not put in the barrier. It's just on such a knife edge. And one way to kind of get it across would be to watch some onboards of Harry King driving one of these things and just watch how the thing, he's basically half crashing every corner and somehow holding on to it. That's kind of, and he's the current Carrera Cup GB champion as Carl Hazelton moves up inside. Good move. I think that gives you an impression of how these cars, to get the best out of them, you've really got to take a deep breath. Yeah,
you do, definitely. And I mean, you often think that surely it's more difficult in the sim because of the fact that, you can't get as much feel for it. But I imagine it's even more difficult trying to wrangle it around when it is the real thing, because with all the forces that'll be going through it, with how lively it is, it'll be an absolute nightmare. That there is João Estevez off and Mark Elvin having his own off at the same time. I wondered if they were connected, but clearly not. Look at that, Paul Goffin, fastest lap of the race. Another 1:41.1. It's a 1:15 this time, so a little bit quicker than the previous time by Danny Jones. Only a couple of thousandths, but still, one number is smaller than the other. One lap is quicker than the other. It doesn't matter by how much. Goffin now with the fastest lap of the race in 9th. Speaking of your big movers then, Amrik Sashdev, biggest mover in the field. 11 places gained at the moment. Luke Holroyd has gained 10. There he is. And Jared Coleman, 8th position at the moment, 10 places gained. He's now behind Andrew Soper, who's gained 9 as well. So we've got that usual crop of strong performances through the field, but then on the same thing, we've got drivers that unfortunately haven't made it through the opening laps here. We've still got everybody running, but a number of drivers, at least 6 of them, have had an issue and been in the pits as Ralph Mayer's off.
Oh dear, oh dear. Big Brother is watching what the edge of the guardrail looks like. Now, whoa! Seriously, Carl Hazelton, I tell you what, I don't think it'd be interesting to see an onboard there from Carl Hazelton, because I don't think he lifted at all. I think he saw him go. I think I could spot a gap there. It's here. Using that typical Porsche on the power early. Yeah, he sees him go left. Oh, he's going happy days.
Yeah, freebie. We'll always take a freebie. Danny Jones does a 141.0. Sorry?
Love freebies. Just interesting that we're on Carl Hazelton at that point talking about freebies.
Oh yeah, very true actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. We've got Butterworth now with Soper down the inside. Soper's been trying to get past for a while. Here comes Jared Coleman. Oh, a bit of a hit. I don't think that Butterworth knew he closed up that much. They get away with it. Coleman goes through. Now here's Ralph Mayer going through as well. He's been freight trained a little bit here is Greg Butterworth, but he's doing the right thing here. He's just keeping it nice and clean. Blocks off Paul Goffin. Paul is not coming through, and look at that there from Andrew Shepherd down the inside. That was on Rowe, who was a lap down. Michael Rowe, 20th place at the minute, but he needs to do things like that because he's got Luke Holroyd chasing him down as well in the 911. Not that there'd be any other type of car out there in the field, but they just look so good going through that section, don't they? Just a little bounce from the front right wheel coming off the ground. Looks absolutely awesome.
Oh, just a good move there from Goffin. That is a brave place to make an overtaking manoeuvre there at the Masters box. And round they go through turn 9. Oof. And yeah, it looks like Butterworth just getting a... It's so easy to do, isn't it, Chaz? When you lose 1 or 2 spots and your confidence just saps through your fingers like quicksand. And you get passed by 1, passed by 2, and then you just start to be hesitant and Amrik Sashdev locking up the brakes. Goodness me. Dear me, that tyre will be like a 50-pence piece now.
Yeah, it will indeed. Andrew Shepherd got a little bit of that as well. A little bit of contact with Amrik there as he got out of shape. Looks like it's damaged Andrew's car and not Amrik's. Now we need to have a look at what is going on at the front of the pack, because Danny Jones has now taken the race lead from Julian Noise. Let's have a look. Wow. Oh, I was going to say he must have come from far back, but Julian's just done it on his own, unfortunately. Just outbraked himself into turn 1. The pressure clearly getting to him there. And now Danny Jones leads this race. Amrik Sashdev trying to get past. Well, that's the 222 of Heinz Mayer. So close to the back of him through there. This is one of those moments as Shepherd looks down the inside. We saw him do that in the previous lap. Doesn't work for him there, but another fantastic train of drivers here, Peter. And much like it always is, it's just you could pick any 5 names on the grid and just chuck them together, and we tend to get them. It's brilliant.
Indeed, yeah. Of course, there's been some, I mean, like you said, there's a whole list of standout performances here. Interesting to see Luke Holroyd just gradually picking his way through the field one by one, not any unnecessary risk. Now, did I see a little bit of a blink there from one of the cars, and we saw Sashdev go through, and whoa, Meyer has a huge send up the inside. They both go wide. Here comes Shepherd. Goodness me. Who said, now, who was it who said you couldn't overtake it at Zandvoort? Oh, it might have been me, but ignore that. Apparently you can. Certainly in the PCGB Club class, you can. Also, Carl Hazelton up to 4th. Good chance of a podium here for Carl.
Yeah, indeed. Now, this is what happened. So, Butterworth's gone wide. Meyer goes to his right. Sashdev goes to his left, and then Shepherd goes down.
Through the middle of him.
Sashdev goes down the inside. Butterworth comes back to the inside to defend it. There's a big send from Meyer. And then a bit of a swap around there as well. So, all going on in this battle. It's now Sashdev, Meyer, Shepherd, and Butterworth is still ahead of Holroyd. Holroyd will be getting held up a little bit here. But this is working out for the guys that have just got ahead. Gregory now goes over to the left. 12.5 minutes. Honestly, I don't know where the time goes in these races. They're so enjoyable. But 12.5 minutes, honestly. It feels like we've done 2 laps. But there you go. It's part of the fun here on Simracersworld TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff, everybody. You can follow...
HB 150.
Oh, don't. we'll talk about that later. But Andrew Soper.
Hit like and subscribe, guys.
Oh, no, I'm not even getting involved in that. Andrew Soper, fifth.
I'm reeling my fishing hook carrier.
Fifth at the minute. I've got a hole in the side of my mouth. Coleman is sixth. Mayer seventh. Coleman doesn't want to be sixth for much longer, though, does he? I'll tell you that. You can also follow Peter and I on Twitter as well if you want. Ralph Mayer won't be, because that's clearly occurred. Gets going again in the big bro machine. And Peter Brill is not having quite the Brill time off in the sand. Let's see what he's done here. It's easy to do this going down the hill. Just overdo it on the brakes. Oh, the car just straight line a little bit and gradually goes wide. And I mean, it's like being at Brands Hatch, that, because as soon as you touch that grass, a lot of the time you're right near the edge of the circuit around some of the longer corners, aren't you? And you just dip a wheel on there, and that's it. It just drags you out wide. It's horrible.
And that is what proper racetracks should be like, so we don't have to debate for the entirety of a weekend of it. Oh, that was track limits. Oh no, it wasn't. Oh, he stepped over track. Track limit is grass, gravel, or the fence, and as long as it's a safe fence, you're fine.
Yeah, Paul Ricard.
Yeah. But I mean, Paul Ricard, they could literally park all the spectators' cars on the runoff, and it would be fine.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks pretty. It looks brilliant what they've done with all the stripes, but that doesn't make up for how awful a racetrack it is. Yeah.
Do you know that when they tested the Porsche 91730 Can-Am car, Mark Donoghue did 240 miles an hour at Paul Ricard? And then, I kid you not, because the day before they couldn't get any more than about 200 out of it, and that was seen as an immense failure. And they made a slight change to the aero, put the longer tail on the back of it, retired to one of the aircraft hangars that they were using as a garage, finished a bottle of Calvados, and then went out the next day and did 240 miles an hour. I tell you what, I've never tried to drink a whole bottle of Calvados, but I can imagine that makes the job of doing 240 miles an hour a little bit harder than it already is.
Yeah. I don't imagine that would be the best circumstances to do that in, really, but either way,
we're not Mark Donoghue, Chaz.
Yeah, that's very true. We're certainly not. But well, I mean, 240 even back then as well. I know that's just mind blowing.
On 1972 tyres.
Yeah,
1973 tyres. No thanks.
I feel like they're made of wood. But I mean, it's like with one of my all-time favourite cars, and I apologise in advance because it's not a Porsche that I'm about to speak about. Never mind, we'll speak about this.
Jared is it an Infiniti?
Oh, Coleman's gone deep. How did neither of them hit him then? I bet Soper was just closing his eyes on the way to the corner there. If in my sort of, I mean, everyone has a Dream 3 garage. If money was no issue, and you know, you have to have road legal cars. One of mine is a Jaguar XJ220S, Tom Walkinshaw racing car.
Oof.
Yeah, but
yep.
Even back in 1994, I think it was, that had
before that. No, I think it was
92.
It was
92.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It had 680 brake horsepower in a road car in 92. I mean, oh god. And the only thing that you could do to make an XJ220 look better is put a wing on the back of it, and that's what they did. And it was not an over-the-top wing. It was just the right shape wing, and it's just, oh, what a machine.
The Unipart one that won on the road at Le Mans. Cool tard in it. I had this electric car. It's just,
yeah, it's just.
Who needs a Pamela Anderson poster?
Oh no, there's not much cooler than an XJ220. Just because even the way the headlights pop, you know, they don't pop up headlights, they pop down headlights. It's just, oh man. Anyway, Sash Dev, well, he's going to be glad he hasn't got pop-up headlights now. He's gone into the back of Jared Coleman because they wouldn't be working. Ralph Mayer has a very, very busy time over the curb there. And look at this behind. He's got Heinz Mayer, Andrew Shepherd and Luke Olroyd. We've got a real train of cars on our hands again here. And all it takes is one good corner or one bad corner for any of them, and they just close up again.
I tell you what, Carl Hazleton is catching Ryan Penny as well, so that gap for the podium is gone. But look at Paul Goffin here on Andrew Soper side by side into the Tarzan bend, and Paul Goffin's giving it the "I'll not do the war" cry. He's going, oh. Is that how Tarzan?
I think so, yeah. Or is that George of the Jungle?
They're both one and the same, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. That was a film and a half. Oh no!
Yeah. Oh!
Heinz Mayer, watch out for that. Well,
That's
barrier.
a crash and a half.
He's put it into the wall again.
Got a good one. I like that. How did I not think of that?
Oh, he's just lost it on his
Whoa.
own. And then biff. That's a big hit into the wall as well, actually. And then he tries to over-rotate it, but the front end just understeers on the grass. That's not Porsche-like. But, oh, he's going to be suffering all sorts of airflow issues now. Good thing he's not got his tiny suitcase in the front, otherwise, because that would
He's
have come
going to get sand in the CD changer.
Oh, no. Oh, Austin Greatorek says F40 LM. I disagree.
It's just a poor man's F1 GTR, really.
Yeah, because I disagree, because they changed all the front end and the front lights came all massive and horrible and plastic, and I just...
Chaz, you do that. This is a man who specs a PDK and a GT3.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
I wouldn't pay any attention.
Danny Jones, though, is now on his final lap of the race. And, I mean, depending on who's watching, I'm sure kids and grown-ups love it, so... The happy world of Danny Jones. Why have we never thought of that one? I say second at the moment. Ryan Penny is then 11 seconds back, so those two are safe. But look, Carl Hazelton, as you mentioned, is right there. Don't be fooled by Oliver Carradine. He's a lap down in 18th, but Carl could be on a potential mission here, Peter. He did a very, very quick lap last time. 1.3 seconds quicker than Ryan Penny.
Paul Goffin's chinned a stiff martini, and he's put in the fastest lap of the race of anyone. So, once he's got clear of Andrew Soper, I mean, bit of a lock up there, well held though. Oof. They actually did well to actually lift off the brake there and get grip back again there, did Carl Hazelton. But Paul Goffin is absolutely flying. Look, he's dropped the guys, left them for dead. What a drive. And Andrew Soper, well, I mean, this is like if you're up behind an ambulance, you're not going to overtake an ambulance, are you?
Yeah, it's very true.
Think about it, you're not, because I mean, how much of a horrible person do you have to be to do that? So, but Amrik Sashdev, I mean, he's a lovely person, but this is a big send! Oh my goodness me!
Coleman thinks, yeah, he's a lovely person. Watch this! Wow. I imagine Amrik shouted 4 when he did that. Danny Jones crosses the line, though, takes round 10 of the championship. What a brilliant drive by Danny. Julian Noizet, second place. Awesome performance from him, and this is how close it's going to be between Ryan Penny and Carl Hazelton. Is Carl going to get the run to the line? Who's going to get the smoother run? It looks like Ryan Penny's just going to do it. Awesome racing either way from the pair of them. And they had a very safe gap over Paul Goffin. He's going to be one of the biggest movers in the field. He's around the final corner for 5th, but look at all this lot. You've got Soper, who's gained 10 places. Amrik Sashdev, who's gained 15. Then you've got Jared Coleman, Ralph Mayer, Andrew Shepard, and Luke Holroyd. They are going to finish in that order by the look of it. Yep, they do, somehow. What a busy race that was for those guys. Austin Greatorek saying, if someone offered you a PDK 992 GT3, would you take it? Stop moaning about PDK. I'd still say, have you not got a manual?
That's just a stupid thing to say. Peter Brill puts it in the fence. That's a stupid thing to say because no one's going to give you one, are they? And if you're ordering one, you're going to order the manual. So go and do some practice, Austin. You're on in a minute. Please don't hurt me.
Well, honestly, you boys are such good sports. We absolutely love it. We
do get away with blue murder.
We do get away with murder here, to be fair. And there you go. Well, there's some pork and some HP sauce together. A nice bacon butty, that, really. Let's face it. Peter Brill is about to cross the line. Or is he? No, he's decided he doesn't want to. Stuff it, he says. I'm going to go in the pits. But Danny Jones, what a brilliant drive that was then. To take... I think that's his first win of the season, is it not? I think it might be. Danny Jones. But either way, he's had a great season so far, and that is going to do him a world of good.
What a way to bounce back from that race one, which appeared to be no fault of his own.
Yeah, very true. You know, some of the guys were just avoiding 3 wide situations, giving as much room as they could. And then there was a little bit of contact, and Danny was unfortunately on the receiving end of it. Austin says his dad ordered the PDK, so he must be the fool. Excuse me. But yes, maybe. But you know, he's got a Porsche 992 GT3, and I've not. So He's not a fool, really, mate. You know what we're like. It's all in good fun up here in the commentary box. Right then, let's have a look over some results, shall we, for that second race. Peter, I did the first one. You can do the second one, mate.
Oh, you're a gentleman and a scholar. So, Daniel Jones confirmed then as your winner from Julian Noisy. Good drive from Julian with Ryan Penny rounding out the podium. And what a drag race that was between Ryan and Carl Hazelton, but just going in the favour of the Jaeger Bull. But good finish nonetheless for the 24 car of Carl Hazelton. Paul Goffin in the Martini car, fastest lap of the race and finished 5th. Andrew Soper in 6th with Amrik Sashdev 7th. Jared Goldman in 8th. Ralph Meyer in 9th. And Andrew Shepherd rounds out your top 10. A good recovery actually after getting involved in that earlier incident. Luke Holroyd finished in 11th, followed by Gregory Butterworth, Heinz Meyer, David Patching, Andrew Marston, Peter Brill, Mark Elvin and Ollie Carwood-Dean. Despite that big crash early on, gets into pit lane, gets his fast repair and back onto the circuit. Love to see that. Michael Rowe finished in 19th with Tom Slater in 20th. Quiet race for Tom, our race 1 winner, don't forget. João Estevez was 21st, followed by Jamie Ward, Mark Sell and Spencer Ayres rounds out our top 24.
Does indeed, and a wonderful pair of races there to get our night underway. Now, we've got to gear ourselves up a little bit for the pro class as well. And Danny won the first race of the season, says Bernie Mark Phillips, who we'll see out on track very shortly. But it's that time of day, or evening, where we're just going to go to maybe a 5-10 minute break, everybody. Just get things all ready for the pro class. And we will be right back with you on Simracersworld TV. We'll see you in a few.
It's black and white. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, or hello again from Simracersworld TV if you have been with us from the very start. Chaz Draycott here with Peter MacKay for the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, rounds 9 and 10 from Zandvoort. And Peter, we've had a wonderful pair of races, as always, in the club class. Very unpredictable, lots going on. Maybe you could say the pro class a little bit more predictable, but the pace in this series is just absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it?
This is when it gets very serious and very scary fast, that's for sure. And really the story of this third season of the championship has been the arrival of Jacob Tofts, who's been absolutely mind-blowingly quick throughout the season. In fact, you'll like this one, Chaz, actually. Of course, Jacob and his new Porsche Sport teammate, Chris Walsh, who's from the United States, actually won the Creventic 12 Hours of Spa virtual in a Cayman GT4.
Nice.
And Chris is actually part of the American bobsleigh team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And they went down to the 12-hour race, went down to the last lap. The two things that was quite pleasing for all concerned is that the car that came second was number 116, and it was a white and blue livery for pure Sims. So I think Jacob quite enjoyed that. I certainly did.
Yeah, he was actually. I think he was saying, wasn't he, that he needs to go out and beat them when before he did it. So there you go.
Yeah.
He certainly stuck to his word. Bless him. We're just going to go into qualifying now, and. Well, let's face it, one man that we really should ride on board with is Simon Povey. He's been very, very quick since the very, very start of the season.
Would you say this is a POV?
Yes. Yes, it is. This is Simon's POV. And it will take you on a lap round Zandvoort, because we actually haven't done an entire onboard lap yet, but really gives you an idea for the amount of camber and just the changes of the elevation here, because a lot of the time the TV cameras don't do it that much justice. It just looks like there's a little bit on the inside of a corner, doesn't it? A lot of the time the camber helps you here, but I mean, look at this bit. A lot of it's quite blind, actually, isn't it?
Very blind, yeah, indeed. It really does follow the contours of the rolling sand dunes here in the north of Holland. A proper old school circuit as well. The first Dutch Grand Prix was here all the way back in 1952. So really, when racing got back going again after the war, Zandvoort was right there. The first ever Dutch Grand Prix dominated by Alberto Ascari, who knew a thing or two about driving a race car. There's the understatement of the month so far. But actually the Mayor Affen of Zandvoort actually began building the track in 1939, and they lied to the Germans that they were building like a kind of military road for a parade if they won the war, but actually what they were building was a racetrack. And then went after of course, this meant that the locals weren't sent to German prison of war camps, and they got this amazing racetrack. So yeah, there you go.
I love that. It's always good to know the story behind stuff like that. So thank you once again to Peter's encyclopedic knowledge inside his head. It's unbelievable. That was a lovely lap there with Simon Povey, and that was just his out lap. The pink machine flies across the line. Here's Jacob Tofts, who is... He's warming his tyres up ready for his second lap, isn't he? He's playing this very cute at the moment. This is Mark Johnson in the 44, the Bombardier car. He's been the scene of much entertainment so far this season, as Mark. He's been in a few incidents here and there, but some fantastic battles all the same. Now, talking about his...
Bombardier.
Oh, yeah. You know what, actually? It was one of the first things, when I first started drinking when I turned 18, it was one of the first things that I drank regularly.
I
know. Now
when you were... That's almost as bad as when I was doing 72 miles an hour on the motorway.
No, honestly, I genuinely didn't start drinking until I was 18. Hand on heart, did not. I was not one of these rebellious young men that started drinking when I was like 14, 15 in high school. Never touched a drop until I was 18. How boring am I? But so, well, there you go.
Let us know in the comments, guys.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, out of 10, let me know how boring Chaz is. Actually, to be fair, Bernie's just put in the Discord as well. When I turned 18, yeah, right. Chaz Draycott.
You'll not get away from Bernie. He sees everything from from the Kremlin.
Well, if I'm going to prove how not boring I am, here's a fact about Spa-Francorchamps from 1921. Basically, I was no, genuinely, I was going to get on to the point that I was commentating on a round of the World GT Championship on Monday night, and they were at Spa-Francorchamps, so I did a little bit of research. And Spa was built in 1920, or they started building it in 1920. The circuit was then complete in 1921, and they were going to have their first ever race at Spa-Francorchamps. The 1921 event was planned, and unfortunately they had to cancel it due to a small number of entrants. Would you like to guess how many entrants registered for the first race?
2.
1.
Well, they say, you only need 2 for a race, but one is is not a race.
You'd win, finish last, and be the last one on the lead lap. All of it in
and
one
you'd
go.
be on the lap, right?
Yeah, that's very true. But then they got a bigger entry list, more than 2, for the 1922 event, and went from there. Anyway, we're not at Spa.
Like that. Well, this is if you want to hear a tenuous Porsche link for Zandvoort, this circuit, probably above all else, this was a circuit which Jim Clark absolutely dominated. In 1963, he won by a lap in the Formula 1 Grand Prix here, and the guy in second, Dan Gurney. 1964 beats John Surtees by a minute. 1965 beats Jackie Stewart by 8 seconds, and in 1967 won in the Lotus 49, the first ever win for the Cosworth DFE engine. It's also the place where he got arrested for punching a policeman. Everyone said he was a quiet guy. No, apparently not. But the Porsche link is that the second ever car he raced in and did a lot of racing in his early years was a Porsche 356.
Oh, intriguing indeed. You
clearly don't read my blog on Porsche Sport, Chaz. I'm very disappointed.
I can't read.
Get Beth to read it out for you.
I don't think she'd do it justice. She wouldn't do your accent.
I'll send you an audio clip. I'll do you.
Oh yeah, my own.
I'll read it out. I'll send you the audio clip.
My own audiobook series from Peter MacKay.
Like, hi Chaz. Because you can't read, here it is.
Oh God, I tell you what, I do need it. Honestly, I am really bad for, like, I don't read books. I don't, I'll do a 1,000 word post on my website, but then I won't read other people's. But I don't know. I just don't read stuff. I've always got to be watching or listening to something. It's very bad, to be fair. I'm a proper millennial like that. I don't read, and I do need to take more time to do it. But I mean, as we've discussed, I don't really have time at the minute. It's, neither do you. We're all flat out all the time, really. The sim racing world is a lot more flat out than I ever thought it would be, and of course, you and I have to combine the real world of motorsport with that as well, don't we?
Well, that's. I have to say, I do like my reading. I certainly read a lot more now than I used to. I've got, in fact, I'm looking around now. You can hear because I'm looking away from my microphone, but I've got a full shelf of just Porsche books, and in fact, the pride of the collection is, well, there's a few, but the pride of the collection is Hurley Haywood's autobiography, which honestly, I can barely lift it. It's so heavy.
Big chunky book.
It is a big chunky book, yeah. It's probably, I think it weighs about 4 or 5 kilos.
Flipping heck. Yeah. It's about the same as an iMac.
It's not what they call a light read, as they say. That's a librarian joke.
Yeah. It really is. Jacob Toft's crossed the line. Oh, and he goes even quicker. 1:38.5. I mean, to be fair, Mark Johnson, back of the pack at the moment at 1:40.6, but a 38.5.
A 1:40.6 would get you on pole in the club class.
Yeah, it would. But that's just this. Jacob Tofts. Wow. Chris Byram has changed out the Akabusi, by the look of it, to me, this week.
Yeah, that's...
It's got the same spec map.
It's still pretty jazzy, though.
Yeah. I actually made that reference, because he races in the World GT Championship that I was commentating on Monday night, and I called it the Chris Akabusi tracksuit car when it came on screen, and Paul Smith nearly had a heart attack laughing. But
He's
I
that vintage, he would know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I completely forgot that we weren't in our situ, and that's where it had originally come up. But yeah, I passed on that absolute gem, and it got a good laugh. James Cummings, I'll be hoping he's not going by the end of the race meeting. He'll be open. He's heading towards some strong results. 7th place at the moment, but a second off Jacob Toft. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the top 3 are covered by 3 tenths, but then Baxter Jones is nearly 9 tenths off. Well, actually, it's closer to 8 tenths, but Chaz's maths clearly not on point. Mark Bowe is admiring the scenery. Mark Johnson is back underway.
We must say, this is very important, Chaz. We must say hello to Mrs. Bowe, Mark's mum, who watches religiously. She's one of well, certainly Mark's biggest fan, and hopefully one of our fans too. So hello, Mrs. Bowe. We hope you're enjoying the action here on Simracersworld TV.
Enjoy the show, Mrs. Bowe. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching. Now, I've just been sent the club class standings, by the way, and we also have the pro standings. Jacob Tofts is 12 points clear of Simon Povey, and then Matt Dorrington, who is unfortunately not here this evening, is now 3rd. Greater X 4th. So it's very, very close between those guys. There's 24 points between the 4 of them. In the club class, after those 2 races we just watched, Luke Holroyd has 172 points to Danny Jones' 149. But Tom Slater's poor race in that second one there in round 10 has cost him dear, because he's now 9 points back from Danny. 32 points off Luke Holroyd at the top. So Luke is on a real charge in that championship at the moment. Looks like Simon Povey is doing some practice starts here, if I'm not mistaken. As it goes very quiet. Literally just all sound just went there. But we have a grid, Peter. Jacob Tofts, Simon Povey, Christian Saruta, Mark Baxter Jones, Gary Tull, Austin Greatorex. It's a very, very strong top 6. Anyone you've got your eye on here?
Oh, I'm going to nab Jacob Tofts. I mean, he is absolutely perfect so far, apart from the number on his car, of course, but flawless. He's going to take some beating today.
It'll never get dropped, and I absolutely love it. It will never, ever get dropped. Either way, I'm going to turn up with wheelie bin numbers 1, 1, and 6 when we ever meet up, and I'm going to stick them on whatever car you turn up in.
I will shove them up your nose.
I'm glad you said nose. Right there, Jacob Tofts is going to lead away, or he's going to hope so anyway. A lot of these guys have been basically nailing the launch control, making sure they've got that down at the starts of these races so they do not lose any time whatsoever. It was actually changed recently on iRacing. They sort of reworked how the launch control is activated in this car, and you can kill the clutch by doing so. We've got Carl Sharkey.
There are more colourful descriptors to explain what happens to the clutch if you get it wrong.
Yeah, there are, but they're not broadcastable.
No.
Yeah, it's...
We'll have the North Koreans on again telling us off.
Yeah, for context on that, we used a clip of Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley, and apparently we got a copyright strike specifically from North Korea. But, yeah, either way. Jacob Tofts sits on pole position, Simon Povey alongside. I'm intrigued to see what Simon can do here, because if he does launch an attack strong enough, that'll bring Saruta into this. And Mark Baxter Jones, you know, starting 4th there in the lime green machine in the 11 tenths car. He's been so quick this season, has Mark. But round 9 of the pro class in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship is about to get underway. The lights are on. And we're away. And Gary Tull has not moved. Gary Tull did not get away originally, and James Cummings has dropped way down the order. Chris Byram's all over the grass. A number of them lose out because of that. And look at that, Zaruta around the outside of Simon Povey. Nothing doing there yet, though. The rest of them pretty single file through there. But Gary Tull, the car just did not move at all. I wonder what happened there, Peter. It seemed very strange because he got going after that.
Tried to pull off in too tall a gear.
Oh, we're going to hell. For God's sake. But that means Stephen Harpham now in 6th place has got a bit of a gap over Stuart Clark, over a second from the rest of the field. Byron Crawford just behind. Now, I was going to mention this earlier, but For some reason, I forgot that Byron's in the pro class. Sorry, mate. But I actually saw a Blinds to Go advert on the TV the other day. And I got very excited and told Beth about it. And she looked at me like I was an absolute lunatic. Because speaking of lunatic, Byron Crawford makes himself look like one. Launches it up the inside. And Stuart Clark. Stuart will be very unhappy with that. And Mark Johnson's going for a bit of a bombing run in the background over the desert.
Did Beth think she was getting new blinds?
Probably.
How does the theme song go?
Oh,
blinds for you, blinds for me, blinds for everyone, blindstogo.com.
Could have rhymed me with body, like everybody.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh well.
Don't quit the day job, eh?
Right then. Toft still leads. Povey second, Saruta third. Greatorex is up 2 places into 4th position. Mark Baxter-Jones has actually dropped 1, so there we go. Commentator's curse working very slowly for me. I love the look of those cars. That and Johnny Elia's car, they just look absolutely glorious. Really wonderful. Good spec map work as well. Oh, James Cummings has had a nightmare. I said how well he was going to do in qualifying, but it's all gone to pot here, I'm afraid. Mark Johnson regains a place back up into 15th. James now the last car on the circuit. Ben Simpson started at the back. He's actually gained 4 spots so far. Biggest mover in the field. He's actually been quite exciting to watch this season as Ben, but he had a very odd and unnecessary incident at Donington Park, didn't he?
Yes, that is just coming back to me now. It was a bit of a Tiffany Dale and Nigel Mansell one, wasn't it? It was, yeah, it was, controversial, but yeah, good to see him back going again, and nice to see the Martini livery getting a showing in both classes. It's an iconic Porsche livery, and actually Count Gregorio Rossi, who of Martini and Rossi fame, had the one and only Porsche 917 road car that was built by the Porsche factory. In fact, there was an ex-race car which they converted for road use, and no country in Europe would register it. So he had to go to the state of Alabama, who said, "Okay, we'll register your car for you, Mr. Shaken Not Stirred. But please, please, please do not ever bring this car to Alabama." So he drove it with Alabama number plates from Stuttgart back to his house in Paris.
Flipping heck. Hell of a journey. You've been asked for a shout out actually in the Discord, Peter, by Bernie himself. But in the meantime, we've got Johnny Elia and Gary Tall going head to head. Johnny just defending down the inside. Oh no, Byron Crawford's gone off. Stephen Kershaw might have blindsided him, I think, into turn 1. And apparently Earl in the chat says the missus has just told me that the blinds in our living room are from Blinds to Go. News to me. And unfortunately, it was Byron that gives him a hit. That
is exactly the sort of thing I would say. I'd go, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
No, I would go, oh, I've seen that on the side of a race car.
Yeah. Oh. At which point we look like loons, but either way.
Now we also we must mention our real number 1 fan. I mean, in fact, God, I tell you what, Chaz, we're talking about fans in a plural sense. This is very cool.
Yeah.
Mrs. P, Mrs. Bernie, Mrs. Phillips, Sally, who's been an avid viewer of the championship since day 1. So hello, Mrs. P. Hope you're enjoying the action. It must be quite strange actually for Bernie not be driving, but actually watching himself in oh dear.
Back to the drawing board.
Stuart Clark. Oh, back to the drawing board. Have we used that one yet?
Yeah,
we've worn it off.
Shamefully, I think I'm starting to wear it out a little bit. It was
that when I wasn't listening.
One thing I do love about Stuart Clark's car is the contrast of having the wonderful monochrome effect and then the brightest pink wheels, wing mirrors and end plates in the world on the side of it. Really does break up the livery a bit, but yeah, Stuart had some very, very quick avoidance to do there. Good thinking as well from him. Very fair racing. You know, he thought, I'm going to be in an accident here, so I just need to chuck it out the way. Now Ben Simpson trying to go through as well. But yes, hello Mrs. P. We hope you're enjoying the show. I know that from what Mark has told us, you were an enormous fan of one of the Puon puns that we made back at Spa last season, which broke the pair of us. So Yeah,
I used it in a broadcast recently, and so we say it wasn't taken in the same spirit. It's like, oh, that's terrible. I was like, sorry.
head down.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, God.
I feel like I forgot I wasn't in the safe zone.
Flipping heck, anything with me isn't a safe zone, mate. God, you need to sort your head out if you think I'm part of a safe zone. Oh, well, we've got some wonderful racing going on again already. 6 minutes gone of this race so far in round 9 of the championship. This is Mark Johnson that we're looking back at, with Stuart Clark just in front of us. That's James Cummings there in the very shiny blue machine. 3/10 between those guys. We ride on board with Ben Simpson. There is Stuart Clark, and then Chris Byram just in front of him in the Cuda E-Motorsport liveried car. You can hear them just spinning up the wheels there as they come off the ground over that curb. Suddenly the revs just spike. It's close again, actually, just in front. I've just noticed this on the timing screen. Johnny Elia still under pressure from Gary Tall, but he's doing a good job at holding him off so far, isn't he?
He is, yeah, but look, here comes Gary Tall. He's got it in the right gear now, that's for sure. Lunges up at Tarzan. Watch out for that apex. There it is. Very good. You can. There are multiple lines around there. You can just go in deep and then tuck it back, or you can keep it tight. You do have options into that corner, and it's a good opportunity to try and make a move, because you can sit in the draft on the front straight as well. But I tell you what, Simon Parker and Penelope Povey is doing a great job keeping Jacob Toffs honest, to keep him in view. I mean, we've seen Jacob very, very, very fast. Really the star of the field this season, but Simon keeping him honest, and one tiny mistake and Simon will be all over him, milady.
Indeed,
in Lady Penelope.
I was going to say, it's another Wednesday night that Simon gets to spend inside Lady Penelope, so I wonder what his missus thinks. Well, I don't know whether he's told her yet, but either way.
Oh, apparently, I don't know if you saw it, but Mrs. Povey had seen it. I think we might have got Simon in trouble there.
Oh, heck. Sorry, Simon.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Someone we do need to look at, actually, despite the fact that the livery isn't as attention-seeking as it was before, is he's probably got sick of us calling it an Akabusi tracksuit. Oh, no, Chris! Chris literally did that just as I was about to say. We've been told
How
by
has
Mark...
he not been ploughed there?
I know, yeah. Mark Phillips just literally told us in Discord that Chris wasn't going to race tonight because he'd never driven Zandvoort until the practice session tonight. And he's been doing really well. And then he spins just as I get... That was like a preemptive commentator's curse, that one. I've never had one of those before. But this is now Mark Johnson and James Cummings, who have been a bit closed up after going past that incident. James trying to get ahead. He's dropped 5 spots from where he started after a number of little moments so far, but Mark Johnson had his fair share. He's actually gained 4 places from where he started. Ben Simpson just ahead of this, actually, still the biggest mover in the field. 8 spots gained for him, so he's on a real roll at the moment. Definitely not stirred, as you would have said, Peter.
I tell you what, I had one of the best Vesper Martini I've ever had in my life was in the Netherlands, actually, up in the north of Holland in a town called Groningen, not far from Assen. Very, very nice Vesper Martini there. And of course, we do have now. Do we have Chris Boy in the field tonight? I don't think we do.
We do not know.
We do not. Oh, he's missing, because this would, of course, the David Bowie Memorial Museum is in Groningen.
I would love to go to that. I might have to.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the MotoGP at Assen.
Yeah.
And then we'll stay in Groningen, and we'll get mortally inebriated, and we might go to the David Bowie Museum.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely up for that. I was trying to think of a David Bowie song to use as a pun for the fact that Chris isn't here, but I don't think it's worth it, I'm afraid. That's just me admitting I can't think of one. Jacob Toft leads this race at the halfway point, then 10 minutes gone. Nice tidy performance so far. He's only 1.3 seconds ahead of Simon Povey, who's got 1.4 seconds over Christian Saruta. So the trio at the front keeping it nice and clean, but the real stuff going on is this lot. Stuart Clark with Simpson, Johnson and Cummings behind him, and they are closing up closer and closer, lap after lap, really. But this is, again, one of those circuits, isn't it, where it's hard to string a lap together, so you do see a lot of fluctuation in the gaps between drivers.
It is a proper technical challenge, is Zandvoort, and it's just so easy to make it. Just that little error, just that little pinch of a lock-up, and you can run wide, and car pushes, and especially around these fast sweepers as well. This car, it has some aerodynamics, but it's not huge, so you really are kind of dancing it around the corners as well, and it can be, sometimes when the track temperature climbs up here at Zandvoort as well, it can get pretty slippy too. Of course, quite a sandy surface too.
Yeah, that's very true. It does become quite, not abrasive, but it's sort of got that, it's like a layer, isn't there, that just forms over it over the course of a race, especially longer races as well. It does get very dusty indeed. That was one thing I was surprised about at Nogaro as well, actually, when I went to France. It's honestly, like, you come back to the car after an hour in the car park, just nip out to just get something out of the car. The thing is, it's honestly like it's been in a sandstorm. There's just dust settles everywhere. If you have your phone out for a few minutes to, you know, do what I do and put a really vain Instagram story about the fact that I'm out in the sun on a Monday, honestly, you just get dust all over you and all over your phone. It's just mad. I never realised it until I got there, that it was so dusty, because usually places like that, people moan about it enough for you to realise, but yeah. Oh, Mark Johnson goes a little bit hot into Tarzan there. James Cummings can't quite make anything of it, but Ben Simpson will have been looking in his mirrors there with his eyes wide open, ready for a bit of contact. It did not come, but Johnson's pushing hard here, isn't he? The odd lock-up here and there. Car going a bit deep on the brakes. He's trying so hard to make up time.
Yeah, and you can. That is always a good sign of a. Well, I say it's always a telling sign, I should say, of when a driver is really pushing hard. Is when that little sort of puff of smoke starts to appear from the tyres. But the one thing, of course, the iRacing simulator is so accurate and so realistic. But they have, for whatever reason, on the last update, they've turned up the smoke from the tyres, and all of a sudden it's like a Dr. Dre video. It is just ridiculous. Like, maybe turn the smoke back down, guys.
It's on Red Dwarf setting.
Yes, or Crystal Maze. Oh, see there. Oh, well done, Stephen Kershaw. He was just about to rejoin there, and then straight back on the brakes. Good job. I mean, the crash not so much, but the recovery from the crash, fantastic. Oh!
Whoa, that is really good awareness, that, by Stephen Kershaw. And that's the thing. You need to have your
call him the Rocket Man.
Yes, indeed. Trying to find out if there's life on Mars, and that's where David Bowie is. No, not the David. Chris Bowie is tonight. Porsche Sport saying, walk faster, the dust will not settle. Yeah, that's a good point, but I am lazy. There's nothing overcomes that. I was sat around watching motorsport and getting paid for it. I was always going to be lazy. Mark Johnson through turn 1. Again, deep into there, though. This time Cummings a bit closer. And, I mean, look at it. He's just so much later on the brakes. He just gains so much time, but then when he gets it wrong, he loses a lot of time as well. It's just risk versus reward, isn't it, on the brakes in these things? Because, I mean, like you were saying before, you know, you are putting so much pressure on the brake very suddenly, and then it's when you try and release that pressure again, you get that feedback from the car as to whether it wants to turn in or not, and you wait for the weight to be unloaded from the front end, and yeah, it's a bit of a scary thing to try and push the limits of on the brakes.
Well, I think there's definitely, I mean, there's definitely good reason why this car is used for arguably the very highest level competition on iRacing or in sim racing full stop, the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup, and these guys are really put to the test in these 911 Cup cars. And whoop, Byron Crawford goes for a wee swoop around, and oh, that's deja vu, just the other way around.
Yeah, Stephen Kershaw going through.
Good flick turn.
Yeah, he nailed that, didn't he? Did a really good job of that.
Nothing. I tell you, I do appreciate a good flick turn.
Yeah,
I always think a WRC driver when they do their testing on the same bit of road James Cummings is off.
Oh yeah, and they get to the end and they just handbrake it, flick it around, but it's four-wheel drive and the whole thing has this really satisfying rotation to it.
Yes.
And they cane it away. I remember watching old footage of the Skoda Fabia WRC. Oh, that was close. Flipping heck. Chris Byram says, "Oh, let me paint the side of your car green, mate. Watch this." Wow. That was. I need to see that again. That was ridiculously close from Chris Byram. Not leaving an inch. Here, look at this. That's naughty close. That is from Chris Byram. Fantastic stuff. Now back under pressure. But yeah, very recently I watched the shakedown footage of just a solid white Fabia VRS WRC car that was being tested. The year that Colin McRae drove it, and it was just absolutely bonkers. Absolutely loved it. And it is just moments like that where they just look the absolute nuts. It's brilliant.
Apparently, these new Yaris GR hot hatches, apparently the handbrake on those is designed to act like a rally car, where if you pull it, it basically like decouples. Oh, it's too complicated for me. It decouples the diff or the four-wheel drive or something, so that you can do really good handbrake turns. See, that is the sort of car that speaks my language. Well, the only thing is, it wouldn't be on a test road in the south of France. It would be in the local Asda car park. But anyway, it might as well. It'll make you feel like you're in Monte Carlo.
Well, yeah, that's very true. And that's the thing, when a car makes you feel like that, you know that it's done its job, because they are all about making you feel something. And a lot of the time, even cars that are modelled well in the sim can still make you sit there and go, oh, I like this, I enjoy driving this, just because of the feedback you get from it. And it makes me appreciate how much that must be exaggerated in the real world as well, when the guys get in cars like this. You see them come in and they go, oh, the car felt great today. And you're thinking, deep down, did it not just feel the same as it normally does? But you do get those moments where a car really makes you just so excited to drive it. And this can be the car. This Porsche is so rewarding when you get it right, because you do have that little bit of slip here and there. You have a lot of power. You've not got all the downforce in the world, but it's set up as it should be to perform at the very, very best of its capabilities without being too far removed from the road car. Despite the big rear wing and the usual race car bits, it's just such a solid car to drive. And I mean, for a very long time, my favourite combination was this around the Nordschleife, just because there's so many corners to go at. And I mean, I love that place. I know it like the back of my hand. And this car is just rewarding when you get it right. I'll get it wrong 90% of the time, but when I get it right, it's all right.
I wonder what my favourite car around the Nordschleife is. Oh, that's a good one. The new M4 GT3 is very good. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
it's quite good. Or the 919 hybrid, pretending I'm Timo Bernhard, trying to break the immortal Stefan Beloff lap record. But Simon Povey, he is not this gap has been pretty much stagnant the whole way through. There was one lap where they were settled by just 400ths of a second, not 4/10, 400ths. So I tell you what, this is we're going to be on for a cracker race 2, Chaz, because it's going to be about they've clearly got very similar pace. It's about who can get through the field without getting into argy-bargy.
Yeah, that's it. You just need to keep it clean through these races and not make a mess like that.
Well, like that.
Yeah, as you said before, Peter, Exhibit A. That's honestly one of my new favourite commentary lines that I've ever heard. Just you see something, you go, Exhibit A. Let's have a look what happened here. Oh, Cummings has gone into...
Synchronised smoke.
Yeah, they both went way too late on the brakes, and Chris Byram sort of tries to spin it back up by smashing the throttle to the floor and turning it. But the car just, unfortunately, it's not quite an Extreme E machine. Just goes straight on. Greater X has got Baxter Jones putting him under a bit of pressure at the moment for 4th place. James Cummings has just gone off and come back on again. But around the final corner to take round 9, or is he actually? No, we're going to get another lap, sorry. I thought that would be the final lap there from Jacob Tofts, but no.
Barney's mugged you off there.
He has. Barney has mugged me well and truly. We get another lap out of it. Now, Zaruta...
Look at those times. 4,000ths.
Yeah. It's bonkers, isn't it? The two of them are so close together. I just don't... I don't know how they're so consistent as well. That's the thing. Coming back to how this car is to drive, it is so difficult to be consistent in this car. I do not have a clue how they do it. I don't have a clue how any of these boys do it. It's unbelievable.
Well, I tell you, the only time I can sort of remember consistency like that is when I've watched Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup races, where they all follow each other, all 25 of them all in a row.
Yeah.
It's similar, that's the highest praise I could possibly think of, because those guys are the best in the world. But tell you what, there's good battle going on here as well between Austin Greatrex and Mark Baxter-Jones, and this is something that Austin just does so well. He's rubbish at specking cars, obviously, but he's so consistent, makes so few mistakes, and that just racks up the points and just keeps himself in the championship the whole way through.
Yeah, he's been great to watch, even running the number 13, unlucky for some. He's just been fantastically quick all along. The only time he ever really had any misfortune was in the reverse grid races in Season 2, where he used to get caught up in quite a lot of incidents, and it just didn't help him. Someone that's not in any incidents and certainly helped by his fantastic pace is Jacob Tofts. Takes another win this season. Povey second. Great chase to the end there, and still only some thousandths between them on those laps. Tsuruta third. Greatrex just beats Baxter-Jones across the line. Stephen Harpham, very under the radar, in 6th place. Gary Tall 1.5 seconds back. We've then got 11.5 seconds to Johnny Elia, who is in 8th place, but we need to keep an eye on this though. Stuart Clark has got Ben Simpson and Mark Johnson all over the back of him to the line, Peter.
Oh, it's going to be a drag race, that's for sure. Drawing Bird versus Glass and Martini. Turns out it's Drawing Board. See Mark Bowe shut the door on the Rocket Man, Stephen Kershaw. Obviously, I love that livery on Mark Bowe's car with the Springbok colours. Very, very nice. Very patriotic.
Yeah,
the green and gold.
Tasty looking thing. Baron Crawford crosses the line. He's had a very tough race. So too has James Cummings and Chris Byram. Chris Byram has crossed the line actually and finished the race. But the pace by those guys, I mean, Jacob Tofts even at the end was doing a 39.6 and a 39.5 from Simon Povey. That's just outrageous pace. I mean, with no disrespect to the club class guys, we know that these pro class guys have a pace advantage, hence the difference in the two classes. But my God, that is just, the pair of them are just unbelievable, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They are mighty impressive. Mind you, speaking of the club class, they've not impressed Amrik Sashdev, who says this is like a funeral procession. Amrik's just like, yeah, let's get a bit more smashing. Let's smash up a few more cars. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's just like, oh, come on, guys, you do something. But you have to marvel at that level of skill and consistency. Like anyone can, well, not anyone, but it's easier to throw in one fast lap, but to do, what was it there, 12 or 13 of them in a row, very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how he carries on doing it, to be fair. And we still are waiting for... Chris Byram is on the same lap. So there you go. He now crosses the line. And, he's clearly frustrated at the car. It decides to... we'll look away from that very quickly. Decides to write it off. But here is the result from the first race of the night. In the pro class then, Jacob Tofts takes it by 1.2 seconds. Another 6 seconds back was Christian Tsuruta. We then have Austin Greatrex and Mark Baxter-Jones rounding out E5 with Stephen Harpham and Gary Tall in 7th. Johnny Elia was 8th ahead of Stuart Clark and Ben Simpson. Mark Johnson, the first car outside the top 10 with Mark Bowe just behind. Stephen Kershaw, Byron Crawford and James Cummings with Chris Byram the last car on the lead lap. And behind them was Kyle Sharkey and Mark Phillips, but those two did not take the start of the race. So, race 2. It's nice and quiet here at Zandvoort as the guys just take a bit of time to chill out. We have Gavin Halls asking, what's the forecast? No, the forecast for race 2.
Dry.
Well, other than that, of course, because iRacing hasn't done rain yet. Thank you. I'm kind of excited and scared for when they do, because we know it will come eventually, but I'm kind of scared for when they do it. Also, you see all those trucks there. I think it would be amazing if your pit stalls all filled up with a truck behind and you could paint the truck so you could have like team trucks that look the same. Do you not agree?
That's got to be in the works, surely. I mean, get the Porsche 911 GT3R in there, and then paintable trucks. Yep.
Yeah.
In that order. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But although
We don't need a 13th different variant of Formula Renault.
No, that's very true. In fairness, though, even if you had, say, we had like 28 cars on the grid here, there's definitely not 28 truck spaces there. So,
yeah, but you could pair teams up. You'd get put in a team.
I like
Porsche
that, yeah.
Sport, they've got about 85 cars in the field, so I'm sure they could all fit them in the truck.
Yeah,
they're one truck. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Although, if you get in a session before someone else, then it's fair pickings, isn't it?
You get first come first.
Yeah, the rest of them have to go in the other.
You're round the back. You're in the spillover.
Yeah, you're at the paddock hill bend, paddock at the bottom of the hill. But no, it's a wonderful thing that we have even details like that. I mean, the cars look like something from 1984, but either way. Christian Tsuruta out on track. He did well in the first race. He was another one of those drivers that was very under the radar, but he's still fast. He wasn't too far off the back of the other guys come the end of the race. It's just that he couldn't quite match them at the midpoint, could he? He stayed about a second and a half behind Povey, but they all of a sudden just stepped it up a notch, didn't they? And they just disappeared up the road.
Yeah, they were on a slightly different level, but watch out for Christian Tsuruta, because he's had quite a few. These Braun GP guys, they've had some success in the reverse grid races. So keep an eye out for that. And we know, particularly here at Zandvoort, it is busy in the opening sector. Oh, a bit of oversteer, lovely. Oh, yeah, it gets so busy, and you're going on course. Unlike in a lot of series, you're not getting a warm-up lap. You're going from cold, and your tyres are cold, and the brakes are cold. So as soon as you ask for the brakes, very easy for them to lock up. Same with the tyres. So it's don't think that it's exclusive to the club class. They're being carnage on lap 1, but believe me, there will be some here in the reverse grid race.
Yeah, there will be. Definitely will be. And I think that when you get to the second race, it's difficult to know how to go about it, because you see some of the drivers that are very, they're reserved and they're patient and they hold back a bit. I mean, like Ryan Parkins did in the 2 seasons that he's already been champion of. But then you get some drivers that go a bit gung-ho and it doesn't always work. But then some of them just manage to go completely gung-ho and it works for them. And I don't know how they do it really, but they seem to do it week in, week out, don't they?
Yeah, there are a few drivers like that. Well, it's the Harry King attitude, isn't it? Just absolutely. If that's in control, God knows what his out over the top is. Absolutely incredible. Now we're getting a little bit of information about the story behind Chris Byram's livery. It's fantastic. He says it's a grass livery, and it's not because we've gone to a place where that's legal. It's because he's always spinning onto the grass.
Wow. Well, at least he's modest. Fair play, Chris.
I like that. Yeah. Big plus.
Good sport. Really good sport. A little bit of news from the Discord as well. Not only is Greg Butterworth asking if there is a YouTube of tonight's race, he's been sent a link, and Mark Phillips is saying that he should be subscribed to Simracersworld TV, and I agree, and he will be. I'll be having words with him apparently. But Amrik Sashdev has just called to say, let's set up a breakaway league. It went well for the Big Six. So there might be another league starting soon with Amrik Sashdev at the helm, taking a few with him. Anyway, let's get on to serious matters. Mark Phillips and Carl Sharkey will not take the front row of the grid. It'll be Chris Byram and James Cummings. We then have Byron Crawford and Stephen Kershaw, Mark Bowe and Mark Johnson, Ben Simpson and Stuart Clark, Johnny Elia and Gary Tall, with Stephen Harper, Mark Baxter-Jones, Austin Greatorex, Christian Tsuruta, Simon Povey and Jacob Tofts rounding out your field. And we can get a better look at the grass livery now, which does make sense, really, when you see it. And, again, fair play to Chris Byram for being a good sport. Greg Butterworth is here in the YouTube chat. Good to see you, mate. Please subscribe to Simracersworld TV. And, of course...
Hi, guys!
No, I'm not Shmee. Right.
You are.
Chris Byram, starting from third but not third on the grid, is going to lead them away then. The lights come on. Round 10 of the championship from Zandvoort is underway. And Gary Toll got off the line this time. James Cummings, it's a really good run down to turn 1. He's going to be in the lead surely by then, as long as he doesn't get out broken. Look at Austin Greatorex down the inside of Harpham, and look at Jacob Toft. How Jacob Toft has gained 8 places. That's half the field. 9 places now.
That's incredible, but you got to be careful. You got to be just super careful. See, there
Oh,
you go.
Zaruta.
Oh, Zaruta.
And Povey. Povey's in that. Mark Baxter Jones. Ben Simpson, who started from the pit lane, is off as well. To be fair, Stephen Harpham's gained 7 places. Austin Greatorex has gained 8. And Jacob Toft has gained 9. Unbelievable start by some of these boys.
This is when you're in a reverse grid race, and you see obviously Jacob had a fantastic win in race 1, and you've got a decent grid spot for the reverse grid, and you look at your relative and it's Tofts +0. You're going, where on earth did he come from?
Yeah.
Oh, this is very busy. Me.
I think Harpham had a bit of a moment there. You know, he was a little bit sideways.
Povey's recovered.
Oh, Stuart Clark's gone off a bit further down, but yeah, Povey is still right there. I think he only had a little bounce off the wall, in fairness, and he's been able to get back on with it again. We'll have a quick look at what happened to Saruta. Oh, he got hit by Stuart Clark, then backed into Povey. But yeah, look, Povey just bounces off the wall and he's straight off up the road. Honestly, it looked like it made his car quicker on exit, but we've got a right train going on here between these guys. Look at that. Awesome stuff. Bit of a lock up there as well.
Lady Penelope's nose has been bent in slightly, unfortunately.
Yeah, she's going to need a bit of surgery.
Yeah, a little bit of plastic surgery, I think, required on that one. Look at Austin Greatorex. What a run he's got here on Harpham. But Harpham very late in the brakes in the Momo car. Well, of course, oh God, that's a rival of Austin Greatorex's seat sponsor, Cobra. Oh, so Austin's just like, yeah, get yourself a Cobra, pal. Eh? Oh, they do all these seats, don't you know? You know, car, van, sofa, toilet.
I had to lean back on my chair there. Jacob Toft was that close. But Harpham, very aggressive defending.
Is it a Cobra to you?
Yeah. No, it's not actually, but I don't want to plug the brand just not to upset Austin. Harpham is defending hard here from Tofts, and this is interesting because look, Simon Povey is right behind him again now. So this is all back to what's gone on? Someone's had a moment in front. I think it's the number 11 of Mark. Austin did put his nose down the inside. Mark defends it a little bit late. We saw that earlier. That is a corner where you can take multiple lines. Mark's now got a car either side, or has he? No. Johnson thinks, no, stuff that, mate. I'm not getting involved in that. Oh, no! Oh, Bo gives it to Harpham. Headbutts him into the left-hander. I need to have a look back at what happened with Mark.
Look at this, though.
Yeah, he's
that's very nice.
Yeah. Does Mark have to wait for that as well?
I'd be like, you've had your chance, pal. See ya.
It looks like Mark Bose, though, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's on you, mate. See in a bit.
Go so far.
Sportsmanship doesn't cover your own mistakes, mate. James Cummings leads this race then from Chris Byram. He's not on the grass. Stephen Kershaw third at the moment. Byron Crawford fourth. Jacob Toft 13 places gained in fifth spot in only 3 3/4 minutes. Let's just have a quick look at what happened here then with Austin Greatorex and Mark Bowe. Austin goes down the inside. He's against the white line. Yeah, Mark just, unfortunately, just a little bit of a squeeze there. And then let's have a look what happened to Harpham then. So he gets past Mark Bowe. And I think he just breaks a bit later than expected there, does Mark. Either that or Harpham's a little bit earlier than Mark expected.
The only thing is that it's hard racing. It's going to happen, but the only thing is if you pull in front of somebody to take the racing line, that's fine. But if you then slam on the brakes, you are running the risk of being tapped from behind.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like sometimes it's better just to hold, give a little bit of room. But it's not a criticism, just an observation.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it is a risky thing to do, but yeah, I think if you're going to go and make the move like that, you do need to sort of concede that it's not going to be the smoothest of runs after that and stay down the inside. Maybe just compromise your line for the next corner just to make sure that you stay in front of the car that you've overtaken. But either way, this is why we're in the commentary box and they're out on the track. Now we've got a nice 5-car train developing here. We've got Stephen Kershaw, Byron Crawford just behind him, and Jacob Toft trying to make it 2 out of 2. I mean, we're a quarter of the way through the race so far, and Jacob is already into 5th place. Simon Povey's already 7th. Oh, Jacob round the outside of Byron on the brakes there. He's still going to be there, though. He's got a really good run off the corner, actually. Look at that. How is this boy doing this?
You can't, I mean, if you're as good as he is, you can do that at Tarzan. If you go in on the outside and your opponent's going, what's he going around there? And then, of course, you get the switchback. It switches around and you get the inside for the next corner. And it can sometimes be the way that drivers make a move. If you go up the inside, you've got to make sure you seal it up early. Otherwise, you'll get repassed, if you like. So, this has been a bit more like it. Now, I don't think Amrit could call this one a funeral procession.
No, very, very true. There's plenty going on here. I do want to, and we're going to be going back quite a bit here, but please do bear with me. I want to have a quick... Oh, well, no, we need to go and look at that. Sorry. Oh, that was Elia getting smacked.
Is that teammate? No, it wasn't. No, it was Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson just had a moment there with Elia. Elia looked way up the inside. Johnson just didn't know he was there. Oh, and there's a hit with Ben Simpson. Now, I did want to go and look back at this. This is Jacob Toft's last on the grid. Look, no one behind us.
Now he's left it in a tall gear again.
Yeah. He did get off the line, though. Look at this.
Oh, my word.
How do you do that? That's 8 places. Obviously, there was 2 cars that didn't take the start. So that's 6 places by turn 1, everybody.
It's like you just sort of let the brake off when, like, oh, something I'm missing here, guys. Goodness me. Well, I tell you what, it's a shame we've not got Carl Sharkey with us tonight. Maybe he's still at the office waiting for his new Taycan to charge up.
I'd love a Taycan.
They are cool.
Yeah.
I saw one today. I was just like, that is a proper motor.
There was a number of them. There was about 3 or 4 of them parked up together at Nagaro while I was there, and there is still this whole stereotype of electric cars aren't as cool as internal combustion engines, but they are.
Teslas aren't. Teslas are dull pieces of misery.
See, I quite enjoy a Tesla, I must admit, but oh no, Chris Byram! He's not on the grass, but he was a little bit. But I'm afraid, I think he's done this on his own. Oh, it was already going. Then he straightens it up, and then, just as he lets the weight off it again, and Tofts squeezes through. Then I think Greater X got into the back of Stephen Kershaw. He's now side by side with Stephen Kershaw, and Povey's trying to come through as well. Oh, Kershaw's still there, though, down the inside of Greater X. Oh, it's so close between a lot of them. Byron Crawford has got a great view of all this going on. And yes, I apologise, guys, in the chat. I'm an awful broadcaster and the worst director possible. But I wasn't looking at the screen when Elia made the dive. I was trying to look back at the start. Either way, we're here now. We saw it happen. But look at this, though. Byron's got a great view of a fantastic battle going on in front of him. You've got to think that Greater X will now shoot off up the road after Jacob Tofts. Stephen Kershaw kind of the cork in the bottle here with Povey just behind. Byron Crawford, of course, won a race at Donington last time. And what a win it was as well. Very popular win in the championship.
He had the field covered up.
He did. It was a small window of opportunity and he took it.
He really had the car just in the setup window.
Oh, flipping out. Well, we've said too many times it was a blinding performance.
Yeah, I'm glad that one loaded up. Being like, no, Peter, you're better than that. Come on.
I've already done that one to death as well. So, yeah. Either way, we'll try and think of more, everybody. Kershaw, though, he's putting this exactly where he needs to at the moment. And Earl is saying, I can tell you the Taycan is bonkers fast car. It doesn't drive like a big heavy car. And that's the thing with electric cars, you know. They are just, they do, hello. Povey round the outside of Kershaw. That's a beautiful move if he gets that done. Kershaw's gone a bit deep. He does get it done. 2 for the price of 1. I don't know whether that is an offer that Byron Crawford's got on at the moment. There is apparently a Porsche Club GB discount code. But, yeah, that's the thing with electric cars. They just don't feel as heavy as they are because of how well they can put the power down. You know, they've got this amazing traction. And, you know, just going back to what I was saying before, Peter, I am a bit of a fan of a Tesla, but it depends which one and what spec it is. You know, I'm picky with them still. But the Taycan is,
Taycan, yes, please.
Oh.
Yes, please. With those, there's one in Edinburgh, it's black, and it's got those kind of like razor, like the kind of airplane rotor carbon alloys.
The 5.
I think that's something like a $5,000 option, but you're in for a penny, in for a pound. I mean, why not?
Jacob Tofts has taken the lead. Have a look. Oh. James gives him the room. Edge backs out of it. Maybe a wise decision, but can you believe this, man?
I think that is maybe a bit of a masterstroke there from James Cummings, because you're not going to keep him behind for long. So why not just stay on your pace? Because by blocking and trying to defend, you're losing so much lap time, and then before you know it, Greater X, Povey, and et al. Are all over the back of you. So I think that's actually quite smart from James Cummings.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. You
call me pessimistic, but that's quite smart.
Oh my goodness me! And it's been said publicly, Carl Hazelton, you can try a Taycan if you like.
Yes.
Yes, please, Carl. Oh my goodness me! I've just got
driver of the day for me. Fourth place. Genuinely, fourth place. Fantastic.
Stop it.
Well, I'm being 100% serious.
Either way, though, Carl, that is very generous, and I would take you up on that offer.
Don't let Chaz drive. Don't
let me drive, mate.
No, I'll drive.
No, in fairness, you know, those 7 points have been off my license for 3 years now. We're all right. Anyway, Jacob Tofts leads the race. James Cummings still in second place.
No, don't change the subject. No. So I'm driving the Taycan. Good, excellent.
Greater X is third. Simon Povey is in fourth place, and then we've got this sort of train. There's a bit of a gap in the middle of it now. Behind Byron Crawford and Mark Baxter-Jones. That sounded out of shape there from Povey, but that's the thing. These cars really float over the crest of the hill there, don't they? They get a little bit understeery as it goes light at the front. But then as soon as it gets planted again, the rear end can start to go around, and then you're on the brakes. It's a bit of a difficult part of the circuit, to say the least, isn't it?
Not in a Porsche Taycan, it's not. Four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Whoa, what was that? Oh, Gary Tall spun.
Oh,
flick turn, though.
Oh, yeah. He can hold his head high about that one. Jacob Tofts then.
Be a tall order to win from there.
Gary, we're sorry. Jacob's just been a star, hasn't he? I mean, we said it earlier, you know, not to sing his praises too much, but he has just been a star since arriving on the scene in this championship. Chasing down every single possible challenger and now leading the championship. 12 points ahead of Simon Povey coming into this. Povey's still in fourth, though. I mean, 3 of the top 4 drivers have gained more than 10 places. Jacob Tofts has gained 17. Don't forget he started last, did Jacob Tofts. Greater X has gained 12. Povey has gained 13. Mark Baxter-Jones is having a good run as well. He's gained 8 spots, starting from 14th on the grid. And it certainly looks good while he's doing it as well. But he's now found a bit of an immovable object in the form of Byron Crawford.
Yes, he has. Byron Crawford driving beautifully in this reverse grid race here, holding a top 5 spot right now. Mark Baxter-Jones. Would you say that Mark Baxter-Jones the most improved of all drivers in PCGB history?
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me that at the start was, struggling to break into the top 10, and then all of a sudden he's getting podiums in the pro class, and you're going, oof. Oh, dearie me. Well, we'll need to get here's an idea for Chris Byram. He could do like a kind of BAR Formula 1 team, grass on one side and sand on the other.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's exactly where I mentioned before.
Deflated. Oh,
just over
that's
the
a 911 crash, that.
Yeah, just over the crest. Back end starts to go away. You get it on the brakes, but that doesn't change anything about the fact that all the weight is at the rear. Look at that. Mark Baxter-Jones around the outside of Byron Crawford. He's going to make it stick as well. What a beautiful move that is. We'll have to look back at that one. Oh, replay wasn't working, sorry. Look at this, he's got a good run out of the hairpin. He's already down the inside. Now, normally you'd think Byron's got this, but Byron goes a little bit deep. Mark keeps the pace around the outside, gets a mega run. Obviously, it opens up the corner for him on the exit. Smashing stuff. And now, Byron isn't close enough to get back in front. He still looks down the inside, though, into Tarzan. I'll always remember the footage of Gilles Villeneuve there with a burst tyre at Tarzan. He just looks really disgruntled, lifts the visor up and still spins up the rear, flicks dirt everywhere, and then does the rest of a lap on 3 wheels with the wheel hanging off the car, but he's still at full throttle down the backstraight with one arm in the air. It's just unbelievable footage. Absolutely unbelievable.
Only Gilles Villeneuve.
Oh, yeah.
Only Gilles Villeneuve, yeah. I tell you what, this is... Mark Baxter-Jones, he's, like I say, a really good move, but I wonder if the colour of this car, we know that it's inspired by the IROC series from the early 70s, but this car, the shade of green that this is, I think this shade of green is my favourite flavour of soup. It's the broccoli and Stilton car. That's broccoli and Stilton soup colour.
That sounds potent. Now, you were in a social distance after that.
Yeah, when outdoors only.
Yeah, when we do get the chance to meet up, yeah, make sure you don't bring that with you.
Carl, don't worry, I'll not eat it before getting in the takeout. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll be a write-off after that.
And you think you wouldn't be able to get away with it in a silent electric car as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I imagine it's 98 octane minimum. But James Cummings is now starting to watch the mirror a little bit because Austin Greatorex is just chipping away at that gap. It's 1.1 seconds between the two of them at the minute. There is the gap live. And it has just gone down gradually. It's very gradual at the moment, between a second and 1.2. But it's mainly the last sector where it seems to be Austin Greatorex making the difference. It's not too much of a gain at the moment, but with 2.5 minutes to go, that'll be another 2 laps. I think that Austin could close up before the end of the race here, and obviously the slipstream down the main straight will help him too.
It will, and I tell you what, if Austin Greatorex can get this second position from James Cummings, that will be really important for second place in the championship between himself and Simon Povey. Really keep him, because it's a long season, and I know I'm throwing out every single cliche in the commentator's book here, but it's true. You know, if Austin can keep scoring points, you just never know. I mean, look what's Matthew Dorrington. We haven't had him for the last couple of rounds, and he's kind of out the running for the championship now. For same thing, Jacob Toft could get called up to be a Porsche factory driver. He should. And then all of a sudden it's a battle between Povey and Greatorex. So this really matters for the championship.
Yeah,
it's a very long way of saying that. What could have been said in 1 second. I apologise.
The thing that you've got to remember is that every single point counts in a championship. How many championships in real world racing have we seen that have been decided by 1 point? The countless Formula One World Championships have been sorted out by just 1 point. And it can happen in this as well. And all it will be, if you think about it, that's just if one guy would have finished 1 position higher than he was in one of those races, he may have got 1 more point and switched it the other way around. It's just crazy, and that's the beautiful way that motorsport works. And this right now is very important to Austin Greatorex. And he has closed up on James Cummings. It's going to be interesting to see how James handles the pressure and whether he lets him through or not, like he of course did with Jacob Toft, who now has a 6.6 second lead over these pair. But this could go one of 2 ways, obviously, Peter. That's a very obvious way of me putting it, but yeah, I'm thinking that I've got faith in James Cummings here, holding on to this. He's been driving a really good race so far, and although Austin's been rather intent about his intentions, for lack of a better phrase, it's certainly
intent about the use of that flasher button.
15 brake horsepower more, isn't it? But no, it's looking good for Cummings at the moment. A couple of corners to go, but same situation for Jacob Toft, who is going to do what we've not seen happen very often in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. and that is 2 wins in one night. Hands together in chat, everybody. Jacob Tofts, what a night. 2 wins out of 2, takes round 10 of the championship. James Cummings, car 2, P2, brilliant drive, mega stuff from 4th on the grid. And Simon Povey finishes 4th, 3 seconds ahead of Mark Baxter Jones, who just beats Byron Crawford across the line. Then we have Rocketman Stephen Kershaw in 7th, Gary Tall finishing in 8th place, and then Stephen Harpham is going to be 9th, and Chris Byram is going to be rounding out the top 10, who despite the spins, he's done pretty well there.
Indeed, he has. Yes, absolutely. It's all about. It's not about the mistakes you make; it's about how you recover from them.
It is indeed. Story of my life. Jacob Tofts, though, that's just epic. You know, the first race was so well managed, kept the pace up all the way through. But I mean, you can sometimes say, "Oh yeah, it looks like he had it easy in that one." You can't argue with that second result. Started last on the grid, gained 6 places by turn 1, and just chipped away through it. And look how clean the car is. Not a dent on it.
That's a big thing. We said that was how important that was. And how would you not put a dent on the car and overtake about 15 people into one corner?
Especially at Zandvoort as well. I mean, it's just beggars belief. You know, he's turned up in this championship and just done an absolutely outstanding job. We still have cars finishing, by the way. Ben Simpson's about to cross the line. After a bit of an incident-packed race for him, still weaves across the line, gives it a bit of character. You've got to love that. Thank you very much, Ben Simpson. But for the final time this evening, Peter, we have wrong race results. There you go, buddy, if you do the honours.
Well, it's the same winner, so we were nearly there. Jacob Tofts wins from the back of the grid in the Pro class, wins by 7 seconds. I think I'll let that one sink in for a minute. Just seen in the YouTube comments, Ollie Carwadine said a masterclass. I think that would be exactly the right word for that. Very correct indeed. James Cummings, a really impressive second place, with Austin Greatrex getting on the podium and getting ahead of Simon Povey, one of his rivals in the championship. Mark Baxter Jones was 5th, another great performance for him, followed by Byron Crawford, Stephen Kershaw, Gary Tall, Stephen Harpham, and Chris Byram rounding out your top 10. Johnny Elia was 11th, followed by Mark Johnson, Ben Simpson, Stuart Clark, Mark Foe, Christian Saruta, and that is the 16 cars that started, and Bernie and Caravan Carl have sneaked into the results, but they did not take the start, of course.
Yeah, we unfortunately didn't have those guys tonight. Bernie himself has actually had a tooth pulled today, so hopefully a quick recovery for Mark, and we see him back on the grid again very, very soon. But what a race, and what a night. I mean, the championship never disappoints. We always get some great racing from these guys, and tonight was a real prime example of what these boys can do. And we have a quick chat with our race 1 winner, Tom Slater, joins us in the booth. Tom, you must be very pleased about the first race of your night, because it was pretty plain sailing once Ollie made that mistake. But the second one, what happened there? I mean, it was rather under the radar to us, I'm afraid.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster, really. The last corner, I got caught in some dirty air, and I just spun up the rear wheels.
And out of all places as well.
Yeah, and then I sped in the pit, so I had another penalty. So.
Oh no! It normally goes that way, though, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of the time, you know, you see people, if they just make, you know, an honest mistake, as we all do, it then just, motorsport has this way of just things going downhill again after that, doesn't it? It all sort of snowballs a bit after the frustrations.
It does, yeah. It was a bit of a disaster, but yeah, race 1 was really good. I enjoyed it.
Well, it certainly looked like a lot of fun, and I mean, one of the talking points tonight has been, again, how difficult this car is to drive, but around a track as undulating as Zandvoort that is so unforgiving. You know, it's a very old school place to race. How did you make it? Did you enjoy it around here?
I'm going to be honest, I don't like the track. It's you have to be sort of patient in some corners, and I'm not very patient. And yeah, you can lock up really easily, and yeah, it's difficult to be consistent, but I managed it.
Well, it's not been a bad championship effort from you so far either. Obviously, going forward, do you think that you can still be in with the hunt all the way to the end?
Hopefully, I think Luke's 30 odd points ahead, so he's going to be difficult to catch. Danny is 9 points ahead, so second could be more of a possibility. But yeah, hopefully the next two tracks are ones that I actually know.
Yeah,
so I should be okay at them.
Well, fingers crossed it goes well for you, Tom. It's been great to watch you this season. You know, we love the livery, we love your very sort of what looks like a very stable and calm driving style. It may be a completely different story behind the wheel, but it certainly looks good, mate. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Yep, I'll say hello to my fiance Kim, mum, dad, and brother. Tess and Dan, they always watch, and Dan's races, obviously. And friends Mitchell and Rebecca, they always watch every week.
Cracking stuff. Well, glad you bring an audience with you as well. It's always nice to have more viewers here on Simracersworld TV. Thank you very much, Tom. Great to speak to you again, mate. Well done on your win, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep, see you. Bye.
Cheers, buddy. And another driver that we had in the club class that was always interesting to watch was Danny Jones, who had a bit of a lively night, to say the least. Danny, it didn't all go to plan. Oh, he's actually disappeared back, actually. I think he was mid-conversation maybe there for a second. We'll see if we can pinch him again. Danny, are you there, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, we've got you, mate. I was just saying the first race of the night obviously didn't go to plan, but what a recovery in the second one. You must have been happy with that.
I was happy with that. I don't really know what happened in the first one. I have to watch it back and see, but looks like somebody I just got nerfed a tiny bit, and but turn one stuff happens. Race two I was sitting in 8th on the grid, so I had to make it count, really, didn't I? So it was like keep a cool head, get through it, and see if we can get to the front, which I did, and won it. So I was pleased with that, really. So it made up for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's that's the thing, everyone says there's always a silver lining, and obviously in that situation, if you don't have such a good first race, then you get a chance at a bit of redemption in the second one. But I mean, we know how frantic those second races can be as well. Going forward in the championship, though, do you think that, I mean, you've obviously got the pace and quality, do you think that you can keep it together for the rest of the season, or is it sort of take it as it comes? Because you're still second, not too far off the back of Luke Holroyd, and you're still, importantly, ahead of Tom Slater.
Well, I just listened to Tom say that he actually knows brands, which is a bit worrying. But we'll see how we go. Yeah, I think so. It's good fun. We'll give it a go. Practice pace was good here at Zandvoort. Can't quite convert on the qualifying, which is with these guys at the pointy end of this group. Blimey, you need every bit you can get to keep up with them. So there's a chance. There's still a few races to go, and a bit of luck goes in all directions, doesn't it? Good and bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Very true, mate. Very true. Well, there's an absolute gem of circuits coming up, an absolute wonderful trio. Of course, Brands Hatch next time round in 2 weeks. Then we have Alton Park, and then Road Atlanta. That's just, I mean, that's dreamy stuff for me, and I mean Peter as well, massive fan of Road Atlanta. So it's bound to be tricky though in this car. They're all very undulating and quite narrow circuits, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. they are indeed, and I think, but good fun. I mean, this car is, as you keep saying, is tricky to drive. It's very unforgiving, so you gotta be very careful. So, but it's good fun. But yeah, looking forward to those circuits. Definitely looking forward to those. Absolutely. I love Alton, and
you and me both.
But I noticed we're not doing the chicane. It's a different layout. We're missing the chickens, I think.
Yeah.
Without chickens for some reason. Mark will have to answer for that one, but we'll see. It should be good fun, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going into Knickerbrook in these things after doing nearly 150 mile an hour down the straight is going to be focusing. But I mean, I've done that in an MX-5, and that was scary enough. But either way,
exactly.
It'll be a lot of fun, Danny. Great to speak to you again, buddy. Well done on the win. And of course, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Oh, just big thanks to the organisers, really. To Mark behind the scenes is grinding away. They're doing lots of great stuff, and doing a really good job. And just a thanks to Gavin for giving me a bit of help early on in the season, or just pre-season and stuff, because the guy's really, really helpful and very generous with his time. So big thanks to Gav for that.
Cracking stuff. Great to speak to you as ever, Danny. Thank you very much, mate. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. And where would we be without an interview with man of the moment, Jacob Tofts? First off, mate, well done and well done again for 2 incredible wins. But that start in race 2, were you expecting that to go the way it did?
No, I think the starts were the same. I think everyone else might have had a bit of a problem. And then I took a bit more risk than last round, which I think paid off. It was a different kind of risk. I was just looking for spaces on the inside and obviously not going for them if they were too stupid or stupid at all. And that definitely worked today.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, your pace was... I mean, when Peter and I watched the club races, and, you know, the guys are doing 141s, and I mean, that's good enough pace anyway. You know, that's way quicker than I'd ever managed to go in this car. And I think Peter would probably second that. You know, there's a reason that we're commentators. But when you go and do a 138, like a mid-38 as well, we just have to think, how on earth do you do that? And I mean, I'm probably going to ask you every single time that we speak to you, but is there a secret to getting this car around a track as undulating as Zandvoort in such a quick time? What is the main thing you find yourself doing consciously?
Probably being smooth, like especially Zandvoort, as you say, because especially in the middle part of the track, it's so hard on tyres. And I knew in the races, if I didn't have my tyres, if my tyres were overheated, then I'd struggle towards the end. So I had to consciously look after the tyres, just be smooth on exit, smooth on turn-in, and things like that, just to help the tyres. But for lap time, I'm not sure. It's just come after lots of practice. Like the amount of hours I've done over the last few years of me doing this, I probably don't want to add them up.
Well, it paid off in the end, mate. And I mean, 2 races in one night, it doesn't really get much better than that, does it? And obviously it's done your championship a lot of good now. You're 25 points clear of Simon Povey, who, in fairness, you know, he was filling your mirrors all night there, wasn't he, in that bright pink machine?
Yeah, Simon's always applying some really good pressure. We just need Matt there as well, and then we can have loads of good battles like we were having at the start of the season.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch that. And I mean, three wonderful tracks coming up. We've got Brands Hatch in 2 weeks, then we go to my all-time favourite, Alton Park, and then one of Peter's all-time favourites, if not his all-time favourite, Road Atlanta. Again, undulating circuits, narrow, unforgiving. Sounds like good hunting grounds for you.
Yeah, I've never properly driven Alton Park, so that'll be a bit of fun learning it. I think Brands and Road Atlanta will be so much fun. I know Road Atlanta's a load of fun in this car because I ran it when it was official last season, I think.
Yeah. Well, Alton Park, mate, if you've never driven Alton, I think Peter could probably give us 3 words that sum up how much of a surprise you're in for. But
yes, please, Peter.
Not kill is better.
Wow.
No, I just, it's like an English not kill.
Okay, I've got a question for Peter. Which track is Ash Sutton better at, Not Kill or Alton?
Well, it's a very good question, Jacob. Annoyingly, Not Kill. He's annoyingly good at Not Kill. Unfortunately, he made everyone look pretty daft at Not Kill last summer. I'll have to admit to you.
I'll always remember his drive. Actually, remember when him and Ingram?
Oh, that's enough, right? Okay, good. Very good. You've had a moment.
They got excluded from the result and put to the back of the grid, and I think he started 31st and finished 8th. It was just unbelievable in the wet in the Subaru. It was just mind blowing. But in fairness, you know, Jacob, you're running the same number. You're putting in similar performances to Ash. You just absolutely.
You haven't hit anyone though, Chaz.
Ah, yeah, true.
Just doing the number proud.
Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Well, it's always good to speak to you, Jacob. You know, very humble in your wonderful pace, mate, and it's just great to watch you, in all honesty. Not to blow too much smoke up your backside, but it really is. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to while you're here?
Yeah, Porsche Sport, My Dash Simulation, Johnny Moore Watches, you guys and all the organisers. Thanks for putting on such a good show once again.
Cracking stuff. Great to speak to you, mate. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, Jacob Tofts, what a star. Really nice guy as well. And that's the thing that we always find, isn't it, really? That, you know, the guys in sim racing, when they are so savagely fast, you'd think they'd have such an ego about them when they come off 2 race wins in a row, but they're just all so lovely to speak to, aren't they? We really are treated here.
We are indeed. Even so much so that he could ask us such an audacious question like that, but do it in such a lovely way that I didn't mind giving him the real answer, rather than have to come up with some sort of half-baked argument.
Very true indeed, mate. Very true. But, I mean, another great night of racing here at Zandvoort. Fantastic track, fantastic car, fantastic pair of series, you could say. 2 different classes, of course, in one series. And, I mean, Brands Hatch next time out, it's not going to be too different, really, to Zandvoort in the way that, there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of walls very close by as we see Harpham get sent into one of them in slow motion. It's going to be a tough night for them at Brands, but we've always had a good night of racing there, so I don't see why next time's going to be any different.
No, definitely not. We know that Brands Hatch is one of the proper drivers' tracks anywhere in the world, and always seems to serve up a bit of drama. Be nice, as Jacob quite rightly said, it'd be nice to see Matt Dorrington come back and join us, and hopefully we will. I'm not sure what his plans are, but hopefully, because I think the battle between Jacob, Simon, and Matt will be and maybe Austin as well. What a tantalising prospect.
Yeah, indeed. We've got plenty lined up, and it's always going to be exciting here on Simracersworld TV. But unfortunately, that is all we have time for tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again for rounds 9 and 10 of the championship. We'll be back in 2 weeks for Brands Hatch, as you've heard. Thank you, as always, to everybody that takes part in the series. Thank you to all the organisers, the wonderful Mark Phillips, and, of course, Sally, Mrs. P as well. Thank you to Mark Bowe's mum for always watching and being such an avid fan. Thank you to my fantastic colleague, Peter MacKay. We always have such a laugh. It's a pleasure to work with you, mate. I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship from Zandvoort. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a fantastic night, everyone.